Hi, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing One Ring tonight. Today, whatever the hell time this is. And I just told them that this could very possibly be the final episode. And wouldn't this be amazing if after all this time, we end on episode 69? Wouldn't that be
Nice.
Nice. That would be great. It would be fantastic.
Nice.
So, not intentional, but you know what? Fate sometimes just brings you a gift and you just have to embrace it. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we just do like a 9-hour episode and make sure we finish on episode 69.
That's one way to do it.
Or with
just take
TPK 9 minutes in.
Oh,
I mean,
there we go.
That's definitely possible. You guys did, and I have it circled here. You did leave 6 wolves, 12 orcs, a couple dozen specters, and whatever the hell this is in this shadow thing alive. And I think, Floyd, let me double check your amount of endurance. You have 1. Is 1 correct? Is 1 the correct number?
1 keeps me up, yeah.
Your biggest, heaviest offensive hitter has 1 endurance. Just
Point of clarity. How do you leave a specter alive?
That's a good point. Undefeated. Left it undefeated.
Okay,
Excellent point.
I'll give you that one.
Excellent point. So yeah, this could be interesting. We were talking last night in Delta Green how like you guys in two consecutive shows, like what first was in Delta Green, then it was in Wondering, how like you guys left a place and then almost immediately went back, but like in both cases it was a little nerve-wracking, and this one I think is even more nerve-wracking. But then you had a chance to leave again, and I think Gilly wanted to leave. Or no, was it Daggett? Daggett wanted to leave. Yeah, Gilly and Daggett wanted to leave, but like
It was my idea to go back and also my idea to leave.
Yeah. Yep. Like, screw that. It's really dark up there. The electricity's out on the 3rd floor. I'm not going up there.
Exactly it.
We gotta follow suit.
Oh, goodness. So if Floyd does that knockback stuff, what is half of 1 when you take half? Is that that's 0?
I just stay at 1 the entire time. Take
Just
0.
stay at 1?
Yeah, you round up.
Pretty sure it rounds up.
That's amazing.
I do believe.
I think we found a loophole, Free League. I
I haven't actually looked up whether you round
Never
up,
go down.
but I'm just going to say I think it's a round up.
It's based on the amount of damage you take. So if he takes 10 points of damage, you take half of that. So half of that is fine. So
Yeah.
it's not half of how much damage he has left. It's half of the damage I do. Yeah.
Details.
Details are important.
Louis
Aren't
got a
important.
different rule set. I thought it was half of what he has.
Rules
The
say
fun
you
thing
do
is,
round up.
though, is that when we go into combat, if we do go into combat, I'm just okay, guys, go ahead and set your stances. What do we all think Floyd's going to go into?
He's only got 1 attack. He's got to go forward.
Forward stance.
Rearward.
It's forward stance.
Oh, do
you
you
even
even
have-
have?
No.
I can give you mine. I never use it.
I mean,
Oh man.
do you even have any bow skill?
I have 2 in bows.
just tuned-
so
okay.
do
I've only
I.
used it like once the entire campaign.
Okay.
I have both skills that I never use.
We have
looking at-
Gilly for that.
I'm looking at Floyd's character sheet.
He does
Floyd,
not.
you have nothing in bows. You have 1 in spear and 4 in axes. Okay. All right.
I'll give him an arrow to use as a spear.
Man, all I got to do is just take that axe away, and Floyd is useless. I should just disarm and disarm and disarm. That's it. I just figured out my strategy. Just figured out my strategy. All right. So, I don't know. I think that's it. Why don't we just do some intros and we'll get into this? And episode 69 will be we'll be over as quick as we can. So, Long, tell us about Floyd.
Yeah, you've heard a lot about me already. The strongest dwarf in the party on his last legs here.
Wow, his last legs. He takes shots at Daggett. That's what I like to hear. Excellent. Infighting. Gilly. Ashley, tell us something about Gilly.
I'm the only hobbit.
That's true.
So obviously that makes me cool as fuck. And yeah, I'm always in rearward.
That's fair. That, unfortunately, doesn't help you against certain creatures, as some
That's true.
creatures have the ability.
Alternatively,
We don't need
she
that one.
writes dwarf smut.
Yes.
And that's
true.
what we have to keep Gilly alive.
That's true. That's fair.
How else are we gonna have those awesome novels to reference in our Moira campaign?
Oh, Ashley. Moria. She meant Moria. Everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look, the important thing is
What
the
did? Oh, I was
smut.
just playing
Yeah,
Overwatch.
smut is the
The
important.
campaign is irrelevant.
Dude, when we do the Moria campaign, we're gonna discover so much ancient dwarf smut all over. When
Yeah.
they're crawling through that place, it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be Balrogs left and right, and they're just gonna have up these random
Oh,
stone
man.
tablets, just looking at these
Lore's gonna be my
unfolded
stat again.
centerfolds. Great. Melissa, tell us about Aurelian.
Yes, Aurelian is not the only ranger, and
Yep.
is
The best ranger?
one of
Worst
the
ranger?
just not the only. There's no good try though, but no, not gonna.
Sounds like something the worst ranger would say.
It does, right?
It's not a competition, says the person who's clearly losing.
Mhm, mhm.
No.
She has a wound and most of her endurance. So one of those two things will be important. Either the fact that she still has endurance to spare or the fact that she already has
Sure.
one wound. We'll see
Sure.
by the end which of those is more important.
I very passive aggressively dropped the rules for dying heroes in the Discord today, just so we have it for easy reference. So if something happens and we're like, what happens when the hero goes down?
That
Oh,
was
that's right.
passive. That was just straight aggression.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That GIF of that I dropped the Discord of the dog slowly smiling is
So
one of my
ominous
as a
favorite GIFs of
dog.
all time. God, I love that
What
so
the
much. Oh, goodness. Then we have the second best dwarf, but somehow the leader of the party. We've got Daggett. Steven?
Okay, second strongest dwarf, and it's not a competition to see who's best.
I mean,
And
it could be.
since it's my last hours, I'm renaming myself legally "Oh Captain, my Captain." So that is the only thing I will respond to until we die.
I'm looking at stats, and you guys are both equally dumb with 15. 15 is a solid wits number, by the way. I was just being rude. But you have more heart than Floy, is what it is, Daggett. You have more heart. Do you know that?
More is worse in this game, though.
Yeah, you have an enlarged. Daggett has an enlarged heart. Right, so you actually are the strongest dwarf. What are we talking about? You have higher strength. You have 7 strength versus Floy, who has 6 strength.
I'm just falling behind on XP is the problem. I came in halfway through the campaign.
I think you guys should like turn to whatever the heck creature this is and be like, hey, timeout. We need to do an arm wrestling contest and just figure out Daggett versus Floyd, who's stronger.
If we're going to do a timeout, we'll say, let's go do some side quests and then we'll come back after
Yeah.
we've leveled up.
You guys had the opportunity to do that, but you came here instead. That's fine. That's fine. Then let's go to the ranger that Melissa says is second best. Let's go to Terraneth.
I am Tara, and I have no wounds, but I feel like that's about to change real quick. And we'll see.
I mean, she might not have wounds, not that you can see, but
No, but she's
bloody-
emotionally gutted already.
the bloody tunic of a Tharbad warden was seen last time around. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. It's a
I am-
jersey, and so it says Tharnow on the back, right above
God damn
the
it,
number.
Jeff.
All right. So
Actually, get him.
amino acid rain. You just played
I'll
Gen
drive
Lab
over.
Alpha Session 1. Very nice. We played some Gen Lab Alpha on the channel. It was actually one of our, I think it was our first streamed campaign on the channel. We never finished it. We got more than halfway through. I know we want to go back at some point, but I don't know. A new Mutineer Zero just came out too this past week. I'm very excited. So maybe we should go back to Mutineer at some point. But I got to basically take out, I think it was Melissa's brother right off the bat. I was just like, Melissa's like, I got a brother. And I'm like,
Yes.
not anymore. Not anymore. Say goodbye. And they're gone. Okay. And you're an only child now. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So last time around, after a brief respite at your staging grounds, presumably hidden within Angmar, you decided to venture to Kellic Door, which is an icy watchtower that lords over the path to Carn Dûm. Now, Carn Dûm sits on a relatively flat tundra in sort of the far northwest at the edge of where the mountains of Angmar kind of sweeps down. At least that's how I'm envisioning it. And this icy tower kind of is the start of that tundra, so it can kind of see the paths leading in that direction. Now, en route to Kellic Door, you all spotted some packs of northern wargs. They were stealthing, they were scouting. You did manage to avoid them, so you never actually engaged them. You also saw a group of a dozen orcish warg riders that were cutting across the icy plains, coming from the south, coming northward from the old border with Rudauer, and presumably from the castle, Moramin Terras, that the hill folk have taken over. One of the orcs, as we've mentioned, was carrying the tattered colors of a Tharbad warden. Was it Tharnal? Was it somebody else's? What was the situation? Why they have it? But they had it nonetheless. Concerned, you all followed them. You watched the warg riders. They made for Kellic Door themselves. They left their mounts outside, and the orcs themselves went inside. Gilly, Daggett, you began scouting the grounds very stealthily. You discovered these rune-covered standing stones that the orcs very carefully avoided when they approached the tower. These are also standing stones that Gilly and Ariniel had encountered before. Daggett, you also noticed that there were some ruined balconies that were overrun with ice and frost as possible other exits or entrances, but maybe not. You then devised a plan to attack the wargs, both setting their hitching posts essentially on fire and also charging them. And the battle did not go that well, let's be honest, as you ended up having to retreat. You got about half of the wargs defeated, but then I think it was Floy who fell, triggering one of these strange standing stones, and the orc started to storm out of the tower. But you did find this unseen cave. You managed to hide in there while the orcs that mounted the wargs, and they started searching around here and there. And this allowed you all to double back into the tower. When you got inside, you found the first level was just ruin. Second level was completely overrun in some places with ice that seemed to freeze battles between elves and orcs, humans and goblins from 1,000 or so years ago during the war with Angmar. Terra, you kept watch outside, and you observed a bunch of specters that started to emerge from those ruined standing stones. You eventually reunited inside the tower again. You pushed towards the upper floor, even though there was disagreement on whether or not to do this. There, a very, very heavy, palpable darkness weighed down upon you, even dimming Gilly's lantern. There were, strangely, some secret conversations that were scrawled across a variety of walls and floors that you were able to see within the darkness. Some of that seemed to go back to very ancient times, or at least ancient to you all, about 1,000 years ago or so. Others seemed to be more recent conversations, as if whatever or whoever produced these messages might have had access to certain secret conversations. Now, in addition to that, there was a single luminous mirror that was hanging from the stone wall on the far side of this floor. You all approached it. It did not show your reflection or any reflection at all, but rather seemed to depict a very dark throne room, kind of brutalist in design with these very severe angles. There is some dark shadow, a figure sitting on that throne, and its eyes began to open. But for you all, there were slightly more immediate concerns as behind you, a cackling laugh began to echo around you in these chambers. And that is exactly where we're going to pick up right there. So I turn to you all. You hear this cackling laughter. You watch in the mirror. It is not the source of the laughter. It is not at all what you're hearing, but rather you see these eyes very dimly opened. They're somewhat illuminated by a light that you don't see, and you see movement as something or someone is rising up off of that throne. You don't know where this is. You don't know what you're looking at. I'll give you all an opportunity to do something here before I do. So what do you want to do?
I am going to attack the mirror.
Yeah,
Okay.
same. Tara's the same idea.
Daggett, please go ahead, roll your attack. Tara, you can do the same thing.
Okay.
God, I need dice. Is that important for this game? Can I just say I
I
hit?
need to get some dice.
I mean, isn't that
You
what
just-
all of you normally do? Just say,
Say
hey,
the numbers.
Oh, I rolled 3 Gandys.
57. Is that good? 57 good?
38.
Your target number was a 12? 56.
All right, we're doing a
The
attack
dice don't
here, not
explode.
like
you know,
athletics
this
or
isn't-
anything.
This isn't Savage Worlds. Just an attack. Just roll, just like you're attacking anything.
Oh
Oh,
God,
okay.
like that savage roll where you bit off Jeremy's butt cheek.
I almost bit off Jeremy's butt cheek on Thursday for the
God.
second time. I almost got him again. It was great in our werewolf game.
Amazing.
3 successes.
Okay.
I can
si-
use one of my 6s to make it piercing if that matters.
26 with 1 success.
Okay. So the two of you go swinging at these things, at this mirror. Tara, your sword, or no, excuse me, your spear comes lunging out, and right as it's about to make contact, it kind of shifts slightly off to the side, and it pierces one of those eyes. Remember, if you recall, there were this sort of frame of like frozen eyes within silver, and it pierces one of those, and you hear that cackling laughter just go, yeah. Daggett, however. Daggett, you swing with Block Fong. The weapon stops midair when it's about a foot or so away from the mirror. Those of you still looking at the mirror, you see that whatever figure stepped off of that throne is now, you can see a silhouette of them. They are stocky, broad-shouldered. You can't quite see enough light to make out facial expressions, but you can see that they are wearing very, very dark clothes, heavy armor, and their hand is up. And it's kind of shaking in the air. And as you all watch, Daggett's hold on Block Fong suddenly swirls. And instead of it actually making contact with the mirror, it instead makes contact with... Let's figure out who.
Oh no. Oh
Makes
no.
contact with Floy. I'm not kidding.
No.
I really did
What?
roll a 1. I
Oh.
really did roll a 1.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions,
We know that Floy only has 1 endurance, so we don't necessarily have to worry about you giving us your damage roll.
I mean, it
However-
could be piercing.
Is it really?
I rolled a 9 and I had 2 6s, so it could be piercing if it was boosted. I
Floyd,
wouldn't do
roll-
that as Daggett, but
I mean, I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
Go ahead
yeah.
and roll for protection against what's Block Fong?
sorry, I should know that. Injury 20.
Roll a protection roll,
Fuck.
Floy, against an injury rating of 20.
That's where you're swinging
Right?
that Daggett. My mithril luminesces as I'm not weary, because that's the effect of it.
Hell
Very nice.
yes.
Or
That's
ignore
very
the
useful
effect
here.
of weary. Yeah.
It's a good thing you cleansed the mithril, or else this could have been really, really bad.
Great success, Gandhi.
Okay. All right. Long, I see, has learned the cheating techniques.
Mm-hmm.
However, the endurance damage is enough. Even though you aren't wounded, the endurance damage is enough as this unexpected heavy blow, as maybe it's not the blade itself, but the flat of the side, smashes against your head. And you all watch as Floyd goes crumbling to the ground.
Boy, what?
What have you done? As Gilly yells as she goes to also stab for the mirror.
You hear. Yeah, Gilly, you can go ahead and do it.
Jesus Christ.
I was swinging at the mirror. He must have stepped in the way.
It's that, and Aurenial just almost without words just sort of points at your weapon. It's that.
Gilly, how you doing over there?
16. Just one hit.
All I need to know is whether you hit or not. You don't actually have to give me anything beyond just whether you hit. Sure. You stab once more. As you stab down, much like Tara's, like it just sort of, land, like it hits the sort of the sheath of ice that kind of coats over the mirror itself, and it just kind of drags your dagger, your knife, whatever it might be you're swinging with, just off to the side. And it seems to have no actual impact on the mirror itself. It scatters into one of these eyes on the side, and you just hear whatever creature is taunting you from the darkness cackle once more. But otherwise, it doesn't seem to do anything. You watch, though, Gilly, as you're leaping up the stab, as the hand, that dark gauntleted hand, takes us, like the figure takes another step forward, and you see a tiny sheath of light as half of its face is now shown. You see a dark beard encrusted what seems like with these little beads and braids. You see the familiar features of a dwarf. They are dark skinned in that they are not like you can tell that they are like kind of covered in like this it's like this paleness, I should say. The dark recesses of shadows. They look like like someone who has not seen the light in a significant period of time. But they reach out and their hand turns, and Daggett, you feel the blade suddenly swing down in the direction of Gilly. Ireniel, you haven't actually done anything yet, so I want to give you a chance before this happens.
I would like to attempt to strike at that hand that's coming through.
There's no hand coming through. You're looking into a mirror. Imagine like you're looking almost into a TV screen, basically. And that's where this is happening. You guys keep stabbing away at the mirror, but at no point is it actually breaking through the ice. And you just hear this shadowy cackle.
Okay, I'm just going to attack the mirror.
Yeah, that's fine. All you just tell me, it doesn't matter how well you do. Just tell me whether you hit or not. If you hit...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So much like we've seen so far, each time you swing, there's something about this sheath of ice that just kind of slides the blade. It just redirects it ever so slightly to the point where you're just kind of slashing along the edges, along this hideous, eye-laden, frozen-eyed frame. And although you're chipping away at that, it's having no real effect. Daggett, however, you feel your arms just turn and like a backhand baseball swing, you go right where Gilly is standing. Go ahead and roll an attack there, Daggett, as you are now swinging in the direction of Gilly.
I assume I don't want to take audience dice.
You could take a complication from me and roll with favored.
I
do have. I
got 3 successes again. I can't make it piercing, but it is 3 successes.
Gosh.
Okay. Go ahead and give Gilly the.
If we're playing by the rules and it's heavy blow, two extra times, then it would be 21.
21 points of damage at Gilly as this again.
What
swing
did the 3
comes
successes total up to, though?
Yeah. Because you're targeting her, so
your
it's actually her parry. Not your own. Yeah.
Mine's 18.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 14, 19, 21.
Okay, so still hits. Okay, that's 21 points of damage towards Gilly as Daggett.
Back.
Of course, and so again, you manage to just duck at the last second, and again, that flat of the blade catches you in the side of your head, right in your temple. You feel your whole head just begins to shatter. Your eyes just go wild with this horrible dizziness, and you go sliding off. Gilly also. You have the only light source other than this mirror, and so you go getting knocked back into the shadows. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go into initiative. As the cackling becomes fiercer and fiercer, and Gilly, you feel an icy hand reach down around your face. So let's go ahead. I've got a little map I think I'm going to use for this just for funsies, just to get a few of these out of the way. This is going to look a little different. I'll share this to the
that's cool.
To the crew in a sec. All right, I'll put this to the stream in a sec.
I admire it and am fearful of it
yes,
at the same time.
that roller coaster one. All
All right. Let me get you guys
They're
into
going
combat.
apart.
All right. I'm
This
sorry
is-
that this is how you guys all are going to die, but, you know.
You're not sorry. You're not
the
even
second
a
best
little
dwarf now.
sorry.
Oh.
All right, let's go ahead and switch this to actual combat music. As this creature is leaning down, when any of you look in the direction, you can see it's extremely dark in this room. So effectively, all of your go ahead and penalize anything you do that requires sight is going to be a minus 1d6. So whether it's attacking, whether it's trying to race across the room and find anything that you think on just keep yourself honest. It's fine. Anything that you think immense darkness would impact you guys, go ahead and just tick down 1d6 against it. But this figure is half shadow, but the light of Gilly's lantern does cause the sort of the space that it seems to occupy to kind of shimmer, both with light and shadow, but also with what looks like this kind of iciness as well, like this mist, as if it's some kind of like fog, like cold fog begins to sort of surround it. All of you go ahead. Combat has begun. You can go ahead and put yourselves into your stances. Reniel, you're in forward. Daggett, you're in forward. What would you like to do? Tara, okay, Floy, you're down. Gilly, you can stay in rearward. It's not really going to affect you in terms of whether this thing can hit you or not. And I also
I'm trying to move to forward, but
it's not working for you.
Just a
forward.
Oh, there
minute,
you
I
go.
think it.
You're good.
Yeah.
You changed,
other-
yeah. I see
The
it.
other thing, actually, I need you to do before we actually start doing, I need all of you to make a shadow roll, as you all are going to make a dread test. So this is going to be Valor. And you know what? I'm going to burn a complication because of what just happened with Daggett turning and knocking out Floy, attacking Gilly, throwing her to the other side of the room, and this creature reaching down to grab her. All of you go ahead and roll it at ill-favored, as I'm going to burn
Sure.
a complication for this.
Jeff, this is already my worst one.
I have decided I'm going to play the last session, which this is clearly going to be at this point, really, really hard.
I
Play it optimum.
failed.
I'm really sorry to have to ask this, but this is a D12 plus whatever the number is, right?
For
D12
Valor.
Oh, if
plus,
it is
plus a number of D6s equal to your Valor score.
got it.
Against
But-
your heart.
He paid for us to roll ill-favored, so roll
Right.
another d12.
Right.
That's a
that-
success
that
with a
part,
19.
And it's against heart.
No
Mine's a
additional successes.
success.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I got 18, just one single success.
Yeah,
All right.
mine's 1-6.
okay. So I think Daggett, you said you completely failed. Is that correct? Did I hear that correctly?
That is correct.
All right, Daggett, you're going to take 3 points of shadow. You are daunted. You cannot spend hope for the rest of this fight.
That's also
Uh,
about a madness for me.
Okay. Figure out what that's going to look like in a second. Let me go through everybody else. Floy, you don't have to roll it yet. If you did, just save it. You are. I'm going to call you unconscious for now, and you can't see what's happening. So I'm going to say you can hold off on holding it. Gilly, you said you had straight success.
Just one success, yeah.
Take
just a
2
regular.
points of shadow, but you are not daunted. Orinial, how did you do?
One success.
You same thing as Gilly. 2 points of shadow, but you are not daunted.
Okay.
Tara, you said a success with an extra bonus. 1 point of
1-6,
shadow.
Yeah.
1 point of shadow, and you are not daunted. Okay. That is okay. So that is just all things that happen at the start of combat, basically. And now we will go into structure time. I have Orinial, Tara, and Daggett. The three of you are in forward stance. There is a creature on the other side of the room to where Gilly kind of tumbled off in the darkness. You can barely see it, but it is reaching down and it is trying to do something to her. Its hands have kind of covered its face. You're not sure if it's reaching for her neck or whatever it might be. Auriniel, Tara, Daggett, whatever order, you're all in the same stance. Daggett, you have full control of like what you want to do. Obviously, you're gonna have your bout of madness, but it's not so much that you're being mind controlled. It's just the weapon goes where it seems to will. So,
I'll go last so I can figure out what I'm doing.
Okay, sounds good. Ari or
Reniel's
Tara?
going to charge in.
Okay. I'm going to need you to make, as you start charging in, make an athletics test. This is going to be penalized 1d6 as you're traversing across an icy, dark room. And as long as you don't fail, you will do so successfully.
Yeah, that's a success.
Okay, you see
So 14
the
over 13.
small beacon of Gilly steps away, and you go chasing after it. There is a giant gap of darkness between you and her, where you can't even really see the floor. There's just this moment, like a foot or two outside of this mirror that is barely illuminated, and then there's a foot or two of radius around Gilly that is everything else is darkness. You go charging through. You feel your boots slip as you step on cold, icy covered stone here and there. You almost tumble once or twice, but you do manage to get up next to this thing. You still have your action. That was just to see if you can traverse successfully. What do you want to do?
Yep. I am in forward and I am going to attack this thing with Minozagar, which is going to have some cool things because pretty sure this is undead. So there's that. Oh gosh. I'm debating if I want to be selfish or not. I won't be. I won't take any extras for this. 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15. Okay, that is a success, but nothing extra. Let me look at Minozagar again real
It has
quick.
a parry of 2, just so you know, in case that affects anything.
I forgot to roll the extra d6 for forward, which is actually a 6.
Okay. Of course it is.
So
Did you take your 1d6 penalty for swinging in the darkness?
yes, I did.
Okay.
Because it was a penalty and I went forward. So
Okay.
I should be rolling 46s, which I did.
Okay.
So I need to give you the total.
Well, you just, whatever your normal target number is, increase it by 2. That's what you need to hit. So assuming you did that. Your target number for this attack is 15. Did you roll 15 or higher?
Yes, I did. Yes,
Okay.
I did.
And you have 1 extra success.
Yes, I do.
Okay. How much
And
damage
I rolled
are
a
you doing?
4 on my d12. So sorry, I'm looking at Minozagar again real quick. It's not a piercing blow. So that is going to be a 12.
12 points. Okay.
Yes.
So remember that this is Superior Grievous, so you add +1 to your damage rating or a bonus equal to your Valor if used against a being creature undead, which this is. So did you add your bonus damage from its Superior Grievous?
I did not.
Okay.
So that's 12 plus 4 is 16.
16 points of damage. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you come up and you slash through it and you hear, as this creature that you swing through, it's almost like you're swinging through fog, but at the same time, there's something that slows the blade down, and it almost feels as though you're cutting through flesh as you do so, and it screeches out in pain. Okay. Then we will go towards Tara or Daggett.
I am charging in as well. And
Okay.
same athletics roll with the
Yes.
penalty. That's a success with nothing extra.
Okay. You make it in. Following in the footsteps so much as of Terra.
And I will attack with my spear.
All right.
And because I'm in forward, I get the 1 extra, but I'm penalized because of the darkness.
Yeah, they cancel each other out.
That's a success with 2 6s.
Okay. So
Awesome.
what is your spear? What is your D12 at?
4.
It's at a 4. Okay, so the extra 6s aren't going to get you to a piercing. So you can heavy blow them. You could do a fend off to increase your parry on if it decides to attack you. Those are probably the things that you might want to do.
I'm gonna heavy blow.
Okay, so give me the total of that damage.
I'm so sorry. Say that again.
So what's the total then? So your great spear.
I'm sorry.
is,
So that is a. Sorry, let me look my dice again. That is a 14.
Okay. All right. So you come up with the spear and you lunge forward just as Auriniel kind of spins around and you thrust the spear forward. Just like Auriniel, you just basically stab at this kind of icy fog that's hovering over top of Gilly. And you do feel that your spearhead makes contact. And you hear once more. And then Daggett. Your turn, buddy. What you thinking?
Yeah, things are going great. I am going to Daggett is going to fly into a rage. He's going to step over Floy, rush toward the Spectre, push Erenial and Terraneth out of the way, yelling, "You fools, have you learned nothing? You're all useless." And I start swinging my axe at the Spectre.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack.
I'm ill-favored, and I get -1 for the darkness.
Well, do
It's gonna go
your
great.
athletics text first, actually, to race across.
Oh, okay, yeah.
-1.
I'll spend a hope if I can to make it a success.
You can't.
I feel like-
unfortunately.
You're
I have
daunted.
the spells.
You're daunted. You cannot spend hope for
okay.
this fight. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's all good.
Okay, so ill-favored, and that's just ill-favored. I have 0 dice on this. It's a 5 and a 3.
No.
You call out in your anger and you go running across, but you step on some on some icy patch of ground, and you go stumbling to the ground, getting yourself kind of knocking yourself down, and you're unable to get into the fight just yet. But your anger nonetheless echoes throughout the chamber. Okay.
Impotent rage.
Sorry, buddy. Floy, your endurance is at 0, so you're still down. Gilly, what would you like to do?
I was knocked down, so
You
I'd
gotta
like
get
to
back
get
up
back
again.
up again.
Okay. All right. So you go scrambling away. You stand up, start scrambling a bit, and then this thing's turn. Okay. Okay. So there are 3 within range of its icy touch. Okay. And then I could do Visions of Torment. I am going to... All right. I'm going to... Let's see. I'm going to target Terra with its Visions of Torment ability. It reaches out. Not with its hands or a weapon, but it reaches out instead with some sort of some energy. Tara, you see your eyes kind of go fluttering, and you see in your mind not this chamber, but you have this kind of montage of images of the dreams that you were experiencing throughout the angle. When the Lord of Nightmares was kind of infecting and plaguing you all, that seems to come back in full force. But in addition to that, you see what appears to be the beaten and brutal body of Tharnal being brought back to the staging area by the fellow Tharbad Wardens. I need you to roll, and I'm going to burn a complication on this, an ill-favored shadow test. So roll ill-favored. So it's so roll 2d12 and take the worst of those rolls and add it to 2d6s. Burning through my
Roll
comps.
well. Please roll well.
Yeah.
Please.
That's a 14.
Okay, and you're going against Heart. Well, that's a success, so you're good. So you do manage to...
Oh, against Heart. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay. Then it's going to reach out with...
Through his wits. I was looking wits. Like, ah.
It's going to reach out with its icy touch, and it's going to... Who's it going to go after? It's going to go after Reniel. Reniel, you're in forward stance.
Okay. Sure am.
Okay. You're a ranger, right?
Sure am.
Okay. 10,
These are all bad things. These are all things that are very bad for me.
25 to hit with an extra success, and I need you to roll a piercing blow as kind of spearing out from within this misty cloud. You just see the sudden appearance of an arm reach out and kind of turn into almost like a spearhead and tries to just dig itself into your chest. Go ahead and roll piercing blow against an injury rating of only 14.
Okay, I'm going to roll it on the sheet because this always confuses me a bit. It shouldn't. We're 69 episodes in, but it does anyway.
Nice.
So here's the roll.
You need to take dice. Oh, God.
Nope. That's a fail.
That's your second wound.
I know.
Oh, shit.
Aurenial, you feel a cold and horrific iciness pierce into your chest. Your heart stops beating for a moment and maybe slowly starts to come back. But this whole cascade of coldness wraps around you, and you immediately fall down. You hear the scattering of her sword on the ground. Tara, you're next to her. You're just kind of getting your wits about you after that strange vision that this thing tried to impart onto you. And you can see that next to you, your friend has fallen. Daggett is missing somewhere in the shadows, screaming. Floy is down. Gilly has just scrambled away, but is at least alive. And that is the end of the first round. We will go to the next round, and you guys can go ahead and put yourselves into whatever stances you like.
I'm staying forward.
Same.
Jeff, you said that Gil had scrambled away. Is the token being right next to the water? Right?
Yeah, this is just like all kind of. It's like the tokens are always kind of like in a just sort of a. We're there just to remind us.
Just double checking.
All right. Tara, Daggett, you're both in forward. Gilly, you're in ranged. Okay. Tara or Daggett, any order. What would you like to do?
Can I go first? But can I move so I'm on the other side of the washerways and not right next to Daggett?
Of course. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, come on now.
Listen, I'm gonna take a hit.
Okay. Swing away. Yeah. Again, it's got +2 to parry. So normally your target number is 13, but for this attack, it's going to be a 15. So as long as you roll and hit a 15, you're good to go.
Right. Which and a penalty die. Right. That is a 21 with 1 6 and a 10 on my what's that die? Eat day.
Okay, so you've got. All right. So what do you want to? So did you have any extra d6s?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay. So do you want to use a heavy blow? Do you want to fend off? Fend off would increase your own parry if it decides to attack you.
But that's only a physical attack, right? So so I'll have you blow.
Okay. So then you're going to take your weapon damage, which is 5. It's going to add your strength, so that's going to be 11 points of damage. I'll tell you this, that is enough to normally kill it.
That doesn't even sound right. But I'll take it.
But I am going to use an ability. Okay. So you thrust your spear through it, and once more you hear this horrible, and for a moment you can see as though like these particulate icy flakes almost begin to flutter down to the ground, but then they kind of swirl in this cyclone for a moment and reform momentarily. But you are confident, Tara, that you've just done significant harm to this creature.
Awesome.
Daggett, what would you like to do?
Do I need another athletics check to keep going?
No, I'm going to say no, because you've already moved and you've kind of traversed the ground, but because you didn't necessarily traverse it cleanly or quickly, you just lost your bit. So you can actually go into it this time.
All right. Daggett is still yelling out dwarven obscenities, calling you all fools and saying he's going to take care of this himself. And he's swinging Block Fong at the wraith. Ill-favored and -1 gives me 3 dice.
All right, man. You're swinging Black Fong?
Yeah. Does it have a parry?
+2. But you don't have to worry about its parry. Instead, Tara, what is your parry rating? 16. So the target you're going for, Daggett, is 16. As you bring the axe down, you realize that the angle it is taking seems to be going not against this creature that you're targeting, but instead at Tara.
So ill-favored seems a little different here. I rolled a 10 and a 1, and
Okay.
ill-favored would mean I'm taking the 1?
That's a great question, because ill-favored assumes that you're taking the worst
That
thing
I'm trying to hit.
for you.
Yeah.
However, I would argue that the worst thing for you is to successfully hit Tara.
I would
As
agree.
a DM, I agree. As a player, I'm like,
I didn't hear the second half of the
honestly,
sentence,
man,
Steven,
I
so
agree
I just heard I agree.
I am on board for the 10, to be clear. Like,
okay, if
I'm gonna go
that's
ahead
the
and
case,
just,
if it's the
yeah.
10, then it's piercing with 2 extra successes.
Excellent
I rolled
roll,
2
my friend.
6s.
Go ahead, Tara. You're going to make a protection roll against that.
Why is it
it's-
always Steven who's killing us?
I never roll good unless
I
it's
want to
you
point out-
guys.
I have been signaling this for months.
he really
For
has.
months.
We all picked it up. We're like, don't
I
use
never
this
heard
shit.
anything about this.
Months.
You were too subtle.
Oh, okay, buddy.
Really
Okay,
don't
buddy.
think he was.
Tara, you're going to roll a protection roll against. Let's see. You've got. Trying to look at your armor. You've got a.
So I've got 2D.
Okay, so
what am I trying to beat?
roll a d12 and 2 d6s, and you need to
Right.
beat a 20.
Which is the injury
So-
rating on block fall?
Yes.
That is the injury
Yeah.
rating on block
If
fall.
you want to take any dice, we do have audience dice before you rip
I
it.
would love an audience size for this.
I will then use a complication, if that's the case, to make
Okay.
your roll ill-favored.
Okay.
So you're welcome to take audiences. I have all these complications that people have kindly given me.
People have kindly given you.
It is
And
the
I am-
last
Yeah.
session.
It would
You
be
gotta spend
wrong
them.
of me to end the campaign with complications still in my inventory.
It's on
we
Epic.
have
a
11
lot.
audience
Sure.
dice for
I have
all
more
of
than
you
that.
who haven't taken your second wound to use.
I have 21 complications now to use.
God
just so you guys
damn
know.
it. Okay.
Christ.
Well,
Wow.
with the audience dice and
People
the
want you guys to
complication,
die. What do you want? I
failed.
don't know. I don't know why it is.
I failed.
Isn't me.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I
You failed?
Yeah.
Okay. You feel this is your first wound, I think. So it's not going to be like what happens with a Renial, but you feel out of the darkness, you hear heavy footsteps. You hear maybe the cursing of Daggett, and you see suddenly a dwarvish figure emerge and swing. Everything's happening at once. You're not sure if he's intentionally swinging at you or if he just misses terribly. But Black Fang comes swooping in and catches you, and it catches you pretty terribly as you are going to suffer a wound. I'll go ahead and hit
dang
wound
it!
severity. You're going to suffer a severe wound, which means you're going to recover from it in 10 days.
Amazing.
As
Oh my
he's
gosh.
going to bury
That's
this
great.
axe into your back, and you just feel your arms just kind of tingle a bit. You feel like your legs almost kind of crumble underneath you. You do remain standing, but you are wounded with a very severe injury.
Does she
Okay.
still take the endurance?
Oh yeah, of course she does.
So
Which
that's
is
21.
what exactly? Remind me.
It's 21.
21 points of endurance.
Are you son of a fuck?
You can take knockback.
Hashtag
by
dang
the
it,
way.
dag it. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna take knockback.
It's not even
Thank you.
dang it. It's damn it at this point.
Oh,
I do think Daggett in his rage would probably think that he got the wraith, and
Not
would just
with
like
the yelp that Tara just did,
Yeah.
and yelp. Dang it! What the fuck?
Damn it. Hashtag damn it, dag it. Dag nabbit. Okay.
this really
Uh,
is Daggett's nightmare. Like when you were describing the nightmare, he was worried about getting his fellowship killed, and now he's doing that.
You're not getting them killed.
You're
killing them. You've knocked two of them down, or you've wounded one. You've really hurt Gilly, and you've knocked Floyd out of the fight. Floyd didn't get an attack in this fight because of you. Okay.
Sorry, but
So, Gilly, I believe it is your turn.
Yeah.
You can
I
you
would
hear
like-
things in the darkness.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would like to move to the mirror and take out my paints and actually smother the surface of the mirror with paints. If
Gilly,
that
I'm
would
going to
do
give
anything.
you. Gilly, I'm going to give you a test here. It's a lore test.
Okay.
If you would like,
Okay.
because I don't want you to waste your turn
Okay, fair.
and have your friends die because of it.
That's extraordinary.
Okay, first of all, you have your paints. You can certainly try to smother it and block the sight, but the mirror doesn't necessarily have full vision anymore of Daggett. But it was something
But those
about
eyes.
it was something about whoever it was on that throne seeing the weapon, and you recall from your research at the old
Yeah.
library in Tharbad, you remember a name, and you remember that name likely carried down through the ages, a family name, perhaps generations after generations, but likely something to do with that weapon belonging to a particular family or a particular clan or a particular lineage or bloodline. So it's less about like the mirror said the cat is out of the bag, basically.
Okay.
It's seen it. It knows it's there.
Got
and
it.
so blocking the sight is probably not going to have the effect that you intend.
Then she's not. She'll continue stabbing at the eyes because that had an effect on the wraith, presumably.
It made it angry. Aside from that, you're not sure. Listen.
Okay.
Your people are going to die. Like I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I would say, Gilly, if you don't put some damage in this thing, like this could be a TPK.
Got it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna shoot the wraith then.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. And I don't have cool magical weapons, and all your cool magical weapons, Gilly can't lift because they're two-handed.
Yep. That's true. If only Daggett would just let go of the weapon and stop attack with it. Switch to his bow.
I've been saying in chat, I'm so mad that I didn't cut his damn arm off.
I'm with you, man. That's what I should have used in my forward sense the first time.
I really would have switched, but the bout of madness, like I've shown him like going into a rage when he's in combat.
I think it's wonderful. Good. I think you're doing an excellent job, Stephen. I'm glad to be
I am trying to stay true to the character despite that unfortunate.
No, it's narratively great.
Yep. And I like how that I'm finally benefiting from you lying about your roll results. This is great.
I should be lying about my roll.
That's how you know he's doing.
Oh, that's another 2. Oh, another 1.
I've never seen 2 Gandys. Oh man.
Gilly, how'd you do?
So extraordinary, and please roll for a wound.
That's not going to matter. It's not. You're not using.
I don't have a magical weapon.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to wound it. You're not going to give it a wound because it does have that ability. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So the most,
but it will take your endurance damage. It's going to take your endurance damage.
Yeah.
So just give me the number.
So 12.
Okay.
I'm not the heavy hitter that we need. So.
You don't understand. This doesn't have a ton of health, and so if you can do 12, like that is, you guys. If you guys can do that, you have a chance.
Gilly does yell at Daggett, though, as she releases the bow. Drop the weapon, you idiot! It's his weapon! And it's the meanest you've ever heard Gilly.
All right. Okay. Who do I have at my disposal? I have Gilly, I have Tara, and I have Daggett. But Daggett's on my side. So I don't see why.
And rolling fire. Steve was rolling fire.
So I'm going to use another one of my complications to make Gilly roll an ill-favored shadow protection roll as you begin to see visions, perhaps as you stand by the mirror, maybe they're reflected in the mirror of your mother, Pim Tolman, of your home burning, your loved ones just being run over by undead, by orcs, an entirety of Bree itself, this horrific fashion, images that you've seen before.
My one candy. God damn it, Jeff.
Sorry. Listen,
10, 11,
if you're going to get mad at anybody,
15.
get mad at the audience for being so
wisdom?
damn generous.
For sure you were going to say me. I'm glad you blame the audience.
So I fail.
You fail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I don't understand. What did you say?
I failed.
I don't understand. What does that mean? Gilly, what's your... so take a point of shadow.
Okay.
How much shadow do you have?
I have 10.
Double that and take an amount of endurance damage equal to that number.
20 endurance damage?
It's 20 endurance damage. I know.
Okay. Can I take knockback with this? Or
that is a great question. This is...
I don't have that much endurance, Jeff.
How much endurance do you have? Like, because you took a big hit, I know, from Daggett, right? You took 10
with
from
knockback,
Daggett.
I only had 11 endurance left.
I don't know for sure, so I'm going to roll in your favor and say yes, you can. It's going to probably involve you maybe like doubling over in maybe pain or heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
nausea, whatever,
Dropping to my
whatever.
knees.
Yeah, just dropping to your knees and just like reaching up, covering your eyes as the images in the mirror that you're standing in front of are kind of going crazy. When you drop down, you're next to Floy, and you can see Floy, the body of Floy. He is dead. He is cut to pieces. You can see blood pooling around him. Obviously, we know as players it's not really what's happening, but that is what Gilly is seeing. And so I'll say that is effectively what happens to you. Is like so you're out of the next round.
Okay.
If there is one. Okay. Then I get an icy touch. I just don't think it would attack Daggett. So I'm going for Tara. Yeah. This is a funny thing. This isn't even the final fight. You guys still have there's a worse fight than this.
Yep.
It may be.
Yep.
That's actually a really good point, Melissa. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to.
Could we have gotten Floy up with like a healing roll back up to 1?
There wasn't
or
really
no?
enough time. There wasn't enough
Okay.
time. He's not in danger of dying. You are, but he isn't. Because he just went to endurance loss. So he essentially just got knocked out. He got cold cocked and knocked to the ground unconscious, but he's not like damaged or anything. All right, Tara, you were in forward stance, correct? Is that right? I think you were. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So that's an extra die.
Sorry, it was just muted.
Oh, you're good. 15, 21, 25 to hit with an extra success. No piercing below, though. Nowhere near. So I'm just going to do a heavy blow as just like a Reniel, you can see emerging from that kind of swirling kind of mist that this creature, this undead wraith or specter is fighting from. You see an arm reach out, this gnarled old arm that quickly turns to a spearhead and tries to stab at you. It'll hit you. It'll only do endurance loss, and it's going to do 12 points of endurance loss.
So if I'm already prone, what?
Did you take?
do I
Oh,
have
you took
any
knockback from
options?
Daggett.
Yeah.
That's a great question. That's a great
Or
question.
do I just take the full 12? Because I'm at 11 right now.
No.
Oh.
I don't mind. I don't know. That's actually, I don't know the answers to that. I also, now that I think about it, I mean, if that's the case, I forgot you had taken knockback from Daggett. Okay.
Knockback's a once per round thing.
Yeah. It's a once per round thing, but I still think I don't think it's not going to be able to, I think it's still going to be able to attack you, right?
Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
get this
it
correct.
makes sense because I'm probably like on my knees or whatever in front of
Yeah.
this thing. Like
you tumble away. I want to get this right. I don't want to kill somebody and ruin the damn.
Knockback is on page 98, spills over to 99.
Thanks, bud.
It says once each round they can have the endurance loss. It doesn't actually say they can't be attacked again.
Okay. Okay.
It just says they spend their next main action recovering.
All right, then that's what. Yeah, and well, we're going to say it's going to go through, and because it can only be once per action, Tara, you do take the full 12,
okay. And I am out then.
and you fall. Okay, there are only 2 of you left. One of you is on my team, and that is the end of this round. As we've got
Fucking run.
both rangers are down. The best and strongest dwarf is down. Your leader has turned against you. Gilly is not to be found this round as she is screaming in agony at the sight of a dead Floy. Daggett, what'd you like to do on this round, buddy?
Be angry.
Do you even have a backup
God,
weapon?
I really don't know. I'm sorry.
But
He
what's
has a bow.
Daggett doing?
In my drowsy murmurs, I whisper, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." You can see the glow of my Kobar's axe, the runes on it glow slightly.
I like it.
Oh, I didn't
like
think
it.
about that. But you can't trade
You
magic
can't trade
weapons.
magic items.
Oh,
I'm lending it to you, not
you
trading.
can use it. You can use it. I'm not. I mean, I don't think you're going to have access to the special stuff that he has, but you can still use it as an axe. I have no problem with that.
okay. I am pissed off at the group. I'd like to let me know if this is like too much. I want to grab either Terra or Erennial. Erennial's down too, right? Yeah.
Erennial's down and in very dangerous condition, actually.
Okay, so I think she's worse than Terra. I want to grab Erennial and just like start dragging her back like pretty roughly because I am in a rage, and like basically throw her towards Gilly on my way to pick up Floyd's axe.
Okay. So, okay. All right. You're not attacking.
Is that too much?
No, because I think the main action, your main action is just dragging and throwing her. Since you're not moving with like this incredible quickness, I'll say I won't require the athletics test. Like you when you were trying to race into combat. And I'll say like your minor action on top of that minor task is to sort of you let go of Black Fong. And then you look down at your hand. For a second, you realize you thought you did let go of it, but it's still in your hand. And you watch as your fingers finally, as you have to force yourself to unwrap your fingers around it, and it finally falls. Daggett, you feel a weight suddenly lift from you that you didn't even realize perhaps that you had. As when you've been sitting at that tyrannical level, it actually begins to fade slightly as you can move back from that level on your track. As you reach down, you grab the heavy, crude Kobar's cleaver, which is not as like because your axe is this long, refined, beautiful weapon, and like Floyd's is just this large, heavy cleaver, and you pick it up in your hands shaking from it. Okay.
That's cool as shit.
It's its turn. It has an ability that it's going to now use at the beginning of its turn. It can choose which hero it engages regardless of restrictions, or it can abandon combat entirely. I don't see why on earth it would abandon a combat that it is just dominating right now. I'm just kidding. It's really not dominating, but like it's taken some hits, some big time hits. Okay. You're going to see Daggett as a swirl of mist comes moving across the room in your direction. And as you turn and whirl around, this figure is in front of you. Which once was this icy, misty cloud is now kind of formed almost into a familiar contours of a wraith. And I'm just going to swing at you twice with 2 icy touches, actually. I think that's all it's going to do. Okay. Would you have moved into a different stance? We didn't technically ask about your stance.
I thought about it. I don't think I would. Daggett's just his blood is up.
I appreciate your honesty. Okay. First attack. Well, for the first time today, I can say I rolled a Gandhi. So the total is going to be a 15. But the Gandhi.
That is exactly my parry.
All right, I still hit for 6 points of endurance loss. It's a minimum damage. But I did roll a Gandhi. So second. God dang it. Second, that is 2, 6, 10. That is a 13 to hit as I rolled a 1 this time on the feat die. So you got extremely lucky. So that one doesn't hit, but is now amongst you. Gilly, it's right next to you as well, as you all are all kind of clumped together. And I'll say maybe with Daggett being here and grabbing the axe, you look up, you see Daggett standing with Kobar's cleaver, kind of almost brandishing it in a way that kind of puts him between you and it. And then you look back down at Floyd and you realize Floyd, yeah, he's hurt, he's down, he's unconscious, but he's not in a pool of his own blood. Your vision starts to fade. You look over towards the mirror and you realize that It's now once more a vision of that throne room. You don't see this scouring of Bree, of your home or anything like that. And we go to the top of the round. 2 of you are the last combatants left with this creature. It has taken damage. It is not undefeated. I've used many of its tricks, but it is your turn, and it is getting very close. So, Daggett, are you still in forward stance?
Yes.
Gilly, you can stay in rearward if you like.
Okay.
Okay. Daggett comes to you, man.
We have 14 left. Last gasp.
That's it, man.
We burned through quite a few last episode.
I've been saving a bunch up since the Nazgul fight. I've been pooling, been waiting. I thought about using him in the Lord of Nightmares fight, but I'm like, nah, he's just a mini guy. He's not that big a deal. I want the Watcher Wraith to, because now you guys, good.
Use your brain. Get them out of here now. And I start swinging my axe at the Wraith.
Okay. +2 parry. But go right ahead.
Ill-favored. Do I still have the -1 for the darkness? Yeah, it was darkness.
He yells at the weakest member of the party.
I will say, though, honestly, with the combination of Gilly's lamp and the mirror, there's probably enough light where you guys are currently standing that you probably have enough vision. But since she got separated from tumbling away before, I think that's probably, and you guys had to chase after it. But I think since they're both next to each other, there's probably enough illumination for you guys to do away with that for this round, at least.
And you know what? Since I'm actually rolling a bad guy now, I know I'm going to roll poorly. So I'm going to take 2 extra audience dice.
Are you now?
Got it.
I'm already ill-favored. You can't make it worse than that.
I'm not. I wasn't going to do it. I think I feel pretty good about the fight. I feel like I've accomplished. I just like to know that I get some licks in. That's really all.
You have some
I just want to kill 1 or 2 players a fight. Why is that so wrong? I don't understand.
It's not.
I don't need a TPK. I just need a slow bleed and eventual.
I'm rolling consistently here. 3 successes. I would have had a Gandhi for a 4th success, but it was ill-favored.
Okay. What would you like to do with your extra successes?
We already figured out that like piercing doesn't matter, so I'm just going to do heavy blow, 21 endurance.
21?
It's what I've been doing all game.
Okay.
Did it to Gilly and Tara and Floyd.
It's not enough. You swing through, you pick up the axe, and you swing through. It's heavy. It's a little bit different than you're familiar with. It's a little shorter in some respects, but you swing up at it. And you feel the blade carve into the now kind of wraith-like contours. Its face, for the first time, emerges. This sort of pale blue face that just pops out of the shadows, out of nowhere, almost frightening you in some way. And it just contorts in this pain, this elongated look. But then it recoils and resteadies itself as it is still up. We come to Gilly.
Fucking shit. Okay.
What are you going to do? Are you going to shoot it with a bow?
Yes.
Gilly, come on. You've been like Murder Hobbit so many times this game. Come on.
This is hilarious.
Come on.
I'll take 1.
I can't wait to tell you how much endurance it has left right now.
Come on, Gilly. You can do it.
Okay.
You can do it.
A wound doesn't matter, but I have an extra 6, 8 damage. I had to
Gilly,
ignore so many dice.
Describe how you scramble away. Describe what goes through Gilly's mind at the sight of all your friends on the ground. The only ally living is one who has just turned on you. Maybe, maybe not. As you fire an arrow and take this Watcher Wraith out. Describe what goes through Gilly's mind.
So this was Gilly's absolute nightmare. Witnessing her friends possibly die. She's still uncertain, but she sees that Daggett's no longer holding Block Fong, and he listened, and she breathes a sigh of relief and we have hope now. And so she draws her bow, and when he hits it and its face emerges, that's when Gilly hits it, is in the face as it started to coalesce.
Its arms go wide. You can see these hands turn icy spears as it's ready to like stab them down at Daggett. It does one as the arrow plunges in, and it looks for a moment like it's just going to go through it and have no effect. But then halfway through, you see it stop. The body, this contours of this wraith suddenly become physical, corporeal for a moment. You see this strange contorting and this tweaking until suddenly it just rains down particulate ice, dropping along the floors, these tiny little pebble-sized cubes. And it has died for a second time. As you are standing here and watching, you can see that the darkness in the room is still here. One thing you recall, Gilly, from your time in the Blue Mountains when you first encountered such a weird darkness, this kind of curse, there was an object likely that was causing it, and rather than the thing itself. And it's more than likely that somewhere in this room that item is here. You've been stabbing at the mirror, thinking it's the mirror. At this point, you're probably certain it is not, in fact, that mirror. However, you have other pressing concerns. As you see Floy on the ground, you see Terra and Iriniel on the ground. You see Iriniel is very similar to what you saw in your vision with Floy. She is literally lying in a pool of blood, and she looks, of the three, far worse than any other. Daggett, you have Kobar's cleaver in your hand. You look at the ground, you can see the axe. You feel a flickering behind you, and when you turn, you see that the mirror is swirling, turns black, and no longer can you see the vision of that throne room. What would you two like to do?
Gilly immediately drops to her knees again and starts frantically pulling out her healing supplies to tend to Iriniel. But as she's doing so, she's talking to Daggett. It's still dark. There's still some other item that needs to be destroyed. I don't think it's the mirror.
You fools, you should have listened to me. I told you all you shouldn't come in here. I told you that
weapon was terrible.
I will continue ranting and raving, but I'll look around the room.
Okay. And I think we talked about this, but Daggett wasn't in that library. So you're really just kind of guessing. It's still very, very dark in here. And with the light of this mirror kind of fading, you don't actually have much to go on, Daggett. So it is kind of a fool's errand as you just go around looking for anything. I will say roll a d12 and tell me what you roll. If you roll, just roll a d12 and tell me what you roll. And
I'm still ill-favored, right?
No, this is just like a luck test, basically, I'm looking for.
6.
Okay, 6. You begin scouring the room, and you see that hanging on the wall, interspersed, are various like effigies, not unlike Othringel, and you just start smashing them one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, and it's a while, but eventually, when you smash into one of these, you crush this skull of what you think might have been a warg, maybe one of those Ursine beasts. Finally, the light of the room begins to fade. Not only that, Daggett, but you can actually see out one of these balcony windows. If you recall, when you were scouring around, you saw like the top of the tower just kind of swirling in darkness. It seems to have faded. And now you can kind of look out to the northwest-ish, sort of that long tundra, and you can see for the first time what appears to be that tundra that stands between yourself and Carndum. And as you're looking out there, there is a swirling mist here and there. And it's somewhat dark outside, but nonetheless, there are these fires or flames of sort of blue and green, a familiar color you've seen so far in the far distance. You saw them periodically when you were up in Othringol, but you can see them closer now, and you are more convinced than ever that what you are seeing are the lights of the fortress of Carndum itself, in whatever state it might be. And you can see it now, just a couple miles away.
I think Daggett would still be furious with himself with the whole situation. So even though the light is coming back in the room, he would continue just smashing all of these effigies in just a rage, just trying to work it out.
Gilly, we're going to come to you. You scramble down. You can see that Auriniel, you've unfortunately been in this situation with her before, where she has been near death. The fight with the Nazgul comes to mind, of course. You don't have a great deal of time. You know that there were still orcs and wargs and whatever creatures that Terra saw as well. And I don't know what's going on with our tracker there, but you race down, you open up your healing kits, you get out your poultices, your bandages, whatever it is you have prepared, whatever you still have left, and you can roll your heal test. Now, just so we do this right, strangely enough, the dying heroes thing does pop into play. So if they are wounded twice, they're considered dying. So Auriniel is technically dying right now. Mm-hmm. So you have to receive healing roll within approximately 1 hour, which has not been an hour, so you're totally fine. If the roll is a success, their life has been saved, and they come back to their senses in about an hour at 1 endurance. If wounded, heroes must add 10 days to the time required. So this is going to add 10 days to your whatever it is that you had, Auriniel, before. And then it also leaves a permanent mark, yet another permanent mark.
Yeah.
I describe this as a pierced blow to your chest. And so, however you want to, Auriniel, describe that with if you were to survive. So, Gilly, is a very important role.
Yeah, I passed the heal test.
Okay.
Since this is just to stabilize you, this does not take any additional days off of your healing time. This just saves you from dying state.
Mm-hmm. And you actually add 10 to your heal state.
Yeah. So, did you roll for your wound?
I don't believe I did roll for the wound. So we actually should probably do that first, because there's a possibility that I could roll an Eye of Sauron on that.
Okay.
So let me pull up the wound severity table.
Yeah, you can do it. It's in Foundry. Actually, it's not that bad. Severe injury. You will cover from your injury in 1 day, 11 days. 11 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
You're not
A
conscious.
second wound is not recorded on the character sheet, and the severity roll is skipped.
Thank you, Dad. What was
Because
your,
of
what were
the
you left
level
at?
10
Yeah, that's right. Good
thing.
call. What was your last one? Do you remember how much your previous wound
3.
was on? So it's 13 days you'll cover from.
Got it. Okay.
So you got the one. Okay. I'm gonna say so Auriniel, you're still out. Terra, you're still out. I'm gonna say, because I want Long to play. Long as Floy, you come to consciousness. You maybe something about the flickering of the lights coming back on, the darkness not being so oppressive, the mirror no longer highlighting you. Look, and you can see carnage all around you, and you can see Gilly frantically trying to heal Auriniel.
Oh, my head. Is everyone here?
Barely. We can't stay here. We need to go.
I will find whoever needs assistance and carry them.
You see Daggett has your weapon. You see, I think Lottie's axe, Black Fong, is still on the ground. Is that correct, Daggett?
Yeah.
You see Terra and Auriniel are both unconscious. Both seem to be breathing. Gilly seems a little bit more concerned about Aerie. Terra just looks like she just took one hit after the other and fell. You don't notice anything that's going to threaten her life currently, but she does look worse for wear as well. she has what you can tell as you pick her up, a very terrible slash along her back. But aside from, it doesn't seem as though it hit any major organs. It doesn't seem to have kind of severed the spine or anything like that, but it does seem pretty brutal.
They're over my shoulder. All right, let's get out of here. She'll survive.
Okay. Daggett?
When will you learn, Floy? We are in Angmar. We can't charge in at everything we see. We need to think before we fight.
There are many things I'd say to you now, but you're not in the right of head.
I'm the only one who's been using their brain this entire time, and you say I'm not in the...
Using
I throw
your
his
brain?
axe at his feet, and I go to pick up Block Phone.
You still insist on using that cursed weapon? Have you learned
Can't leave
nothing?
it here, can we? For an orc to find? Use it against us?
Does it mean nothing to you that you almost killed all of us? That it wasn't even these wicked creatures that we have been fighting, but you and this weapon?
Wasn't me. The shadow twisted it. The specter.
But you insisted on bringing this weapon. It was you. You were warned. I heard Gandalf warn you.
Perhaps you would have preferred I just came to Angmar barehanded. Would that have been better?
There are other weapons we could have obtained.
It is a useful tool, a powerful tool.
I have
and
been
it has
warning
served
you
us well.
since Tharbad that this is cursed.
And what
But-
would you
but
have me
no.
do about it?
We could have searched to cleanse it, or buried it, or gotten rid of it and gotten anything else.
I am here for you, your friend that you left up here. And now you wished that we would have spent even more time wandering around looking for a way to cleanse an axe.
That's nothing. This is my worst nightmare. Losing all of you, and I almost had to watch as you killed them. And Gilly stops talking at that point and leads us, or starts to stealth towards the room to make sure we're clear.
Okay. If you are moving off by yourself and you're not carrying anyone, I don't think you can. I mean, I'm gonna be honest.
I
think it would
can't. She's
you
tiny.
can drag some. Maybe you could drag somebody, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If you could,
I can grab whoever's left. Who did you say you were
Terry.
getting, Floy? Yeah, I'll grab Tara. Probably not
I
as
think,
gently
I think
as
Floyd
Floyd
took Tara, and I think you can take Neil. Okay. Gilly, you take the lead and you start stealthing down. Gilly, make a scan.
Okay.
Yeah, this is more scan than awareness. It's not really a danger. It's just something that you might pick up on as you lead forward without the distraction of having to carry somebody.
Great success.
Okay. As
I have my
you
lantern.
start moving down, remember the middle floors were just filled with ice, and you had to kind of crawl through them. It was extraordinarily difficult at times, and very tight quarters. And you can saw there were all these old battles that, like, as if they were just flash frozen in place. You notice as you're moving and crawling through some of these that they're dripping, that there's sort of like the ice is kind of beginning to give a little bit way here and there. And you're feeling kind of a condensation on your hands as you're crawling through a tunnel here and there. You also notice that as you pass by some of those balcony sections, you can look out. You can see those specters glowing, moving around the way that Tara observed them. And you also, I would say that you're not able to discern whether or not they're a danger necessarily, but they are like kind of aimlessly wandering in this sort of like lost state. It is still dark. very, very dark, as if it's nighttime. But you're able to get down to the first floor. It hasn't been a significantly long time since you've been in here. And of course, I rolled a random thing and I rolled a Gandy. So, and they have not, the orcs have not returned as of yet. You can push out through the front door. You can peek first too, Gilly, if you like. And again, you don't see the signs of any of the orcs. You don't see signs of any living wargs. There are some of the carcasses on the ground that you guys defeated. You don't immediately see the specters, but you also know that the specters can go effectively invisible as well. But you did see some of them mingling about. The stones, the standing stones are still there. They're easy enough to navigate. So the three of you can get down the tower. You're at the door. You have both of the rangers over your shoulders. What do you guys want to do?
How far is camp?
Like 2-3 days.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's best
I think-
we rest here.
The orcs could come back.
We'll go to the cave we found. They missed us once there. They could miss us again.
Okay.
That is easy enough to find. You don't have no roll necessary. You can work your way back to the cave. You set down Terra and Irinial. It is cold. It is icy. That has not changed. But you are out of the wind at the very least, and you can rest. I'll say... yeah, go ahead.
Jeff, I'm sorry. One more thing before we left. We had a pile of furniture and scraps ready to set fire. Would we have been able to set that before we left?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can set it ablaze. You would know that eventually that would be seen for a significant distance. Yeah. Okay. So
Daggett's angry enough right now. He's not going to let his plane go away.
All right. So you set fire to Kellic Door.
He's sending a message.
And you leave. You find a cave. Shortly after finding the cave and sitting down Ari and sitting down Terra, the two of them come back to consciousness in short succession. And so now all of you are once more conscious, once more together in this cave. The Watcher Wraith has been defeated. Kellic Door has been set on fire. You've seen the lights of Carndum. There are orcs in the area that you know are actively searching for you. And you are at least 2 days away from your allies back at camp that you know, at the very least, the Watcher Wraith was aware of. What would you guys like to do?
So as a Rinial, kind of, I'm kind of imagining sort of that, sort of aggressive, sort of waking up, kind of taking that deep breath in, just, kind of like... And what she has this chest wound, but it's actually going to kind of take on sort of this discoloration as she actually needs to take a shadow scar, because luckily I hadn't spent any hope and I was at 12 of 12 hope and I was at 11 shadow after that. So, she's going to suddenly sort of just have this shadow scar that she's going to get.
That's fucked.
Gilly will also be taking a shadow scar. I imagine when she got hit by Daggett, it was mostly with the blunt end, but maybe the very tip of it kind of drug across her face as she got knocked back. And so that will be her shadow scar, is a very thin line that just kind of drags across her right cheek.
That's badass.
Every time you look at your reflection, you'll see it.
It'll be a hard one to explain to Tolman.
Oh boy.
Gilly won't tattle.
I think we have no choice but to head back to camp. The rest of the party will meet us there and we can make a new camp.
We do need to regroup, and depending on how they've done, we need to move on to Carndum.
How long do you guys want to wait here? You can rest. You can take the equivalent of probably, let's It's not a safe spot. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's not a safe spot. There's orcs actively looking for you. You just set fire to the tower. Like, you guys are wounded. Like, it's not a safe spot, but you can... I mean, I could say you can take like a short rest or something like that, but I know that doesn't affect... That's not going to help Ari or Tara because they're wounded. I don't think...
I would say enough time to bandage.
Floyd?
And yeah, like just enough to get our breath back and keep going.
No, I'm wounded as well.
Oh, wow.
Am I at 0 endurance still, or
You're at
am
one.
I at 1 now?
You're at 1, yeah. So Ari's at 1, Tara's at 1, Floy is at 1. Daggett and Gilly, I think neither of you are wounded, right?
No, but I'm at 1 unless we do a short rest.
Short rest it is.
So the short rest will only then help Gilly and Daggett, since they're the ones that are... Because if you're wounded, short resting doesn't matter
Yeah.
for you, unfortunately.
I'm fine with that meta.
Okay.
And then maybe Daggett and I can take lead stealthing back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If that is the case, you're venturing back. You're trying to get back to your camp. A couple days. This is all, again, we go into our little montage system, our little mini travel. Gilly, you said you're going to take lead on that. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll. You said you want to do it stealthily?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Difficulty 6. Time limit, I'll put it at 5. All right. Give us the roll.
Great success.
Okay. So I'll say this, that if you took an hour to catch your breath, to rest, to bandage, make sure everyone was in, and you start moving after that, you come out of that crevice, that cave, and you can see that the fire is still ablaze in the tower. You can smell smoke because you're not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a tower of stone. There's only so much the fire is going to do, of course, but it is ablaze, and it does give this eerie kind of orange glow to the area. It helps a little bit when you travel, at least for the first mile or so. And the difficulty after that, though, Gilly, is that there are more dangers that you're now having to face as you hear the sounds of orc riders coming. You see the sounds of these warg riders flying past you. You see them in enough time to hide yourselves, so it's not as though they see you, but they are racing back towards the tower. You see not just those that you fought, but you see other creatures kind of moving past you over the course of the hours, the day in which Gilly takes lead, as if they are kind of flocking to the site of Kellic Dor, like the main sentry point for Karn Doom. It was not in greatest of condition, but it nonetheless gave good sight and good warning. And so it becomes a difficult journey to hide here and there, but you're able to. Eventually, after probably about a day of constantly moving, stopping from time to time, Daggett, you said you wanted to take over next. Is that right?
Yeah. Remind me, what checks are we allowed to use for this montage? Can I use travel?
I'll take travel. Yeah, I'll take travel. Sure.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was athletics, explore, or stealth generally.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take travel. Travel's okay.
Okay.
At this point, you've traveled, you've journeyed around enough that I think it's you don't always have to look for brand new routes. It's more about moving on some of the routes that you've discovered.
I'd like to take an audience die as well.
Okay.
All right. That is 3 successes.
Very
Damn,
nice.
I am consistent tonight.
You, honestly, man, MVP. I think both sides would probably
thanks,
vote
buddy.
you MVP.
Thanks, buddy.
MVP. Listen, like, they don't seem to appreciate you on that side. So if you want to come over the dark
Why is
side,
everyone mad at me? I'm rolling so well.
I don't understand. You're doing really well. You're in charge, man. You're smartest dwarf on the side. Come on over.
I was
Come
about
over.
to be the only dwarf.
Well, that's not going to happen on the other side. Okay.
That was the plan. I see.
You're able to sort of retrace your steps for when you ventured out here. You'll be able to kind of find the route back, and you're taking kind of a similar tactic. Much like Gilly, you do see there are enemies moving past. At a certain point, you notice in the distance this thundering rumble. You can hear it first. You can feel the shaking. You can see almost like a storm of ice sweeping at you. When you realize that it is about a half dozen of those Ursine Angmar beasts with what looks like these large Urukai, those trolls that Rotag was, that almost looked like a massive orc, but in fact you learned later was a specially bred troll. And you can see them once more, not unlike Rotag. And they are on the backs of these beasts, and they are thundering past you. Now, they don't notice you again. You were able to keep hidden. But there's about a half dozen of them. They're coming from the east. They're coming from your camp. They're coming, you would presume, from even further towards the ruins of Dolgoath or somewhere else. But they are moving with great speed. These bears seem to travel at, if not the same, perhaps even greater speed than the wargs themselves. And they cause the ground to shake when they pass. I need one more success, basically, and you guys will venture there because you guys are at 5 out of the required 6. You got 3 time limit left. You guys are moving along at a pretty good clip.
Your little athletics.
Okay, Floy. At a certain point, yeah, it's been a couple days. Enough coddling. You're a tough dwarf.
Throw some dirt on it.
And yeah, roll your athletics test.
Nice little Sauron with success.
You got a Sauron?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
But still a success.
A great success.
Yeah, but
But a
that's bad.
Sauron.
That's really bad.
Just going to go ahead and fold my hands and put them in my lap, and I'm going to tuck that into my pocket for later when it's more dramatically appropriate. Okay. However, you do notice as you venture up and over one of these ridge lines and you're about to traverse into the valley where you had set up your camp. When you notice down in that valley are in fact not your allies, but you can see that there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 hill folk. They don't look like orcs. They're hill folk. You don't see... I mean, I don't think you've seen... Have you guys seen Braddock yet? I don't think you guys have actually seen Braddock yet.
I don't think so.
But you do see folks, and they're scouring about here and there. And at one point, as you're watching, you see them drag from a hidden cavern the wrapped up remains of Sorendir, and I think it was Falindil? I think that was the name of the
first one.
The poor Lady Arisel's ranger who passed. They kind of take the bodies out, they drag them out, and you see from a distance they have this exchange as if like they knew you were here and they know you're here, and they're scouring about the area. Whoever would like to roll a scan test.
I would like to.
I'm pretty good at that.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'm going to total up the amount of successes on everybody who rolls this scan.
Two successes for me.
1 success.
Okay. So 3 total, I think?
It's a feel for me.
I just got 1.
Okay, so 4 total.
I'll give it a try if everybody else is doing it. No.
Okay, 4 is still okay. 4 is still plenty, actually, because you look off as you're scanning around looking for any signs of anyone. You don't see, other than the 2 bodies that were dragged out of the cave, you don't see any of your ally. However, as you're scanning there, looking around, something catches your attention. Floy, and first it's Daggett. Daggett, you see it this thing kind of flapping around in the breeze on like this gnarled, ruined tree of some sort. Like it's sort of petrified in a manner a good half mile to the north. You can kind of see it kind of flipping around for a second. It almost looks like one of those birds that have been tracking you guys, and maybe your eyes kind of look over towards it for a moment. But then as you're staring, Floy or Renil, you look over as well. Gilly too. And a few of you recognize what looks like a flapping yellow banner. Very similar to the one that Thorvum and Thebe said that they would signal for you all with when you first traveled to Mount Graham many, many months ago. What would you like to do?
Where did we see that? It was on the
off to the north, about a half mile away from your camp, tied onto a high, like gnarled tree.
I saw Daggett there. Gilly, you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I can't believe it
could be
worked. Because that was one of Gilly's crackpot ideas.
Our original camp's been compromised. I think they moved.
Yeah, we should still be careful so we don't bring anyone back.
We found the dead uniforms of Tharnav's men. There's a chance this could be a trap. We should be careful.
Is Balvan anywhere to be seen?
No.
He stayed back with Zorn, do you know?
No, he didn't. He traversed. You guys hid the bodies. They said they were going to take care of him. They hid the bodies within like this little cave system that you guys had been hiding in near your camp.
Thanks.
So you guys go and you take a look at this gnarled tree with the fluttering yellow tatters. You get up there and there's no one there. There's no message. There's nothing. No one attacks you either, Daggett. But then you look off again, just slightly off to the northwest, and you see another one. This time kind of pinned what looks to be like to a very large stone shard coming up out of the ground. Travel to that one. Look around again, no messages. But then you see another one off in the distance, about a half mile to the northeast, and then another one, and then another one. And as you follow each of these tiny little tatters of cloth, you eventually come to the base of the mountains of Angmar as the foothills begin to venture upwards, somewhere between, if you're looking at the map, where we put Othringold and where we put the other location, the mines, the location the Rivendell Elves went to, somewhere between there. And as you approach, I'll say, you hear a very slight shuffling, and you see standing, kind of flank off to either side, you see two elves that look identical, as Elrohir and Eladin, who are very much looking worse for wear. They let out huge sighs. Their bows were both drawn. And they say, "We saw you a mile or two out, but you had a foul stench on you. We were worried. But we are happy to see you. Come. We had to move camp inside." And then
Who else has made it back?
Inside. And when they look at you, Daggett, like you can see Elrohir's eyes just kind of linger for a moment on you. And then they kind of turn away.
Follow me.
Okay. You guys follow in and you go through this very circuitous cave. A couple times the two of them communicate with them. They get very frustrated, like, blasted cave system, as they kind of look back at the dwarves for a moment. But eventually they lead you through this winding, circuitous space until you find yourselves in an open kind of underground cavern. You hear the sounds of other voices. You can see what looks like some kind of underground water source that people seem to be camped up against. And there's a few little lanterns that have been lit up to give light around. In terms of who survived, we're going to kind of figure that out right now, actually.
Oh, God.
Okay. You look and you see as you step into this cave. I actually already rolled this. You look as you step into this cave. You can see the elves from Rivendell and Forlorn are here. You can tell that a few of them are very, very injured. Many of them are kind of like wrapping what looks like arms here and there. One of them, it looks like Balavan's hand is somehow like kind of shattered. You look off and you can see that there are several dwarves in here as well. Daggett, you take a deep breath. You look and you can see both Rollin and Snagit have survived. But as you start doing some counting, not all of the Oathbreaker dwarves have in fact returned from their sowing of discord in Moramin Teras. You look around Terra for signs of the Tharbad Wardens. You see the Oathbreaker dwarves who were with them on their specific task. And you can once again let out a sigh of relief as you see there are some of those folks. However, Tharnau is there, but he is on a litter. You can see he has some sort of bandage kind of across his face, and one of his arms has been kind of pinned to his chest. He also does not seem to be wearing his normal clothes. You start counting up some of the wardens. You see Titus as well, who seems to be actually not injured, and he is kind of shuffling back, bringing what looks like food and supplies and water over towards Tharnau, over towards some of the others that are injured. When you look at Lady Arisel's rangers, you see Lady Arisel. You can see Thorvum. You can see Thebe from the Deadland Dwarves. But you also notice that the rangers have been cut in half in terms of their total count. And there are a handful of faces that you don't recognize, and they seem to be in very terrible condition. Irinial, you see Udil, who was the young ranger sent on behalf of Orifin, your old friend. However, none of you see Viniator, who was the ranger who found you when you first ventured into the Angle and was decent friends with Tereneth. In total, there's somewhere where there originally were about 11 rangers. There's around 6 left. Forlon elves look to be in full condition. The Rivendell elves look to be in full condition. Your Dunland dwarves look to be in full condition. Your Tharbad wardens have been cut in half. And your Oathbreaker dwarves have lost not quite half, but they've lost a few. So some of them suffered casualties. And that is a few more complications I have just burned. That is what you see.
Seems we're the last group to return.
Sorry, go ahead.
Seems we're the last group to return. I say we have a word.
Elra here looks to you. Yes, we thought you might not have returned at all. But then we saw flames on the horizon. And we had some hope that it was you. Things have been difficult. The enemy here is disorganized, but not without strength. We found some alarming things. A mine, trolls, a quarry. And Elroy here kind of looks at Floy, looks at Daggett. His eyes kind of venture over towards where Rollin and some of the other dwarves are. The mine is a term we use not the way humans do, but the way your kind does. When we say mine, we don't mean a cave with small veins of ore. We mean something closer to a city. Dwarven. At least it once was. The trolls now are being put to work, dismantling it, bringing stone from within the mine. We've seen it dragged westward up the slopes onto the tundra, and we presume towards Condom itself. And they do not just have cave trolls. They have a mountain troll. It is large. It is fierce. And it does whatever they tell it to. They did not see us, fortunately. But on our way out, we did come in contact with another band of snow trolls. They blended in with the horizon, and we barely saw them. We took a few out, and we made our escape. Your friends from Tharpad suffered a great deal. They got caught in a skirmish between orcs and those treacherous Rudauer hill folk. And the dwarves, Lady Erisel, they have a disturbing tale to tell about the ruins of Dogwraith and the creatures that they saw being trained there. I suggest you speak with her when you can.
Thank you.
Nods at you.
And we'll make our rounds.
Okay. Who goes where?
Yeah, I'll look to Tara.
Runs over to Tara. Very predictably runs over to Tharno.
You,
And,
with your own wound throbbing, you get near him, and you can see that Titus is there. And he's like, and you can see for the first time, maybe ever, he's not overly excited. He actually looks very calm, and he looks very concerned. He's, oh, Miss Tara, it's okay. He's going to be okay. He took a terrible wound. And we were doing as Mr. Daggett suggested. We ambushed a group of people out in the wild, and we put on the clothes, but just as we were doing so, a group of orcs came out of the hills. Apparently they were still stalking the keep. They fought us, and then the hillfolk came out from the walls, and there was a battle between the two, and we were caught between them. Well, some of us made it out, some of us did not. But Tharnell, he fought valiantly. He will. The healers, the elves, said he will live, but he is weak and he needs rest.
But he will live.
He will live, assuming we can find our way out of this place. He like hesitates, and he's got those giant ham hock of hands, and he kind of hesitates, kind of reaching it out, like thinking to put it on your shoulder, and eventually he just goes for it, and he does. And it's like, it's super heavy.
Puts a hand on it.
Yeah. He will live. He will live. And I've been feeding him well. Don't worry. He comes and goes from consciousness. He asked about you. So he will be quite pleased to see you all here. Ooh, and then he looks down at your back. Oh, goodness, what happened to you? As you have a terrible wound of your own.
I didn't have you to take care of me.
Well, we'll have to remedy that now, won't we? And then he starts kind of like barking orders to a couple of the like the other wardens around, and everyone's kind of fetching things like a bandage here, like a bowl there, kind of getting, food, this and that. And like, it's really just broth at this point as opposed to anything being in it. But like, people just randomly move around really quickly as he seems to have taken on a bit of a leadership role. Maybe it's just because he's really tall, or maybe he's just, everyone likes him.
And Tharna's just like unconscious this whole time.
He's there. Like, you could wake him if you wanted, but he is like resting. Like, you can see him breathing.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
But what I will do is lean in and give him a very soft, almost imperceptible kiss on the non-bandaged part of his face. And I need to go and speak with Lady Ursula. Thank you, Titus. Thank you for taking care of him, and thank you for... I would not feel all right leaving if I didn't know you were here.
Of course. He'll be fine. I promise it. I swear.
She gives his hand a squeeze and goes, to see Lady Urso, which I will do after everybody else does there.
Just do some rounds. Where's everybody else want to go? We can go in whatever order we want. So, Floy, you've talked a little bit with the Rivendell elves. Tara, you talked a little bit with the Thorbad folks. So, Titus, Gilly, or Daggett, or Airy, is there any particular questions you want to ask of somebody?
Daggett would like to go visit his brother.
Okay. So, you head over towards where the Oathbreaker dwarves are. You can see that there are some missing. Names you would probably recognize, but in terms of people we as a stream would recognize, Rollin seems to be in some pain, but is nonetheless conscious and talking and planning and helping where he can. You can see Snagit is actually in. He doesn't seem to be terribly wounded, as he is again moving about. He seems to be moving about with greater purpose. He doesn't seem to be wilting into the background as much anymore. He's, by probably necessity, has kind of started to emerge back more into kind of a leadership role here and there, and people seem to be deferring to him in some ways. But when he sees you, you can see I knew you'd be all right. They were worried about you. He kind of comes over and just puts like a big hand on your shoulder, almost like he's going in for a hug, but he kind of just leaves it there for a second.
Daggett almost has like a 1,000-yard stare going on right now. He's just the exhaustion is setting in. They finally got back. He looks at him. He looks at the hand on his shoulder. Sit with me, brother.
Of course. Sit down. And he kind of pushes you down a little bit, very gently, kind of leading you to a spot in the ground. Nothing's particularly comfortable, but it's better than standing and what you've been doing the last couple of days. I'm going to say 3 days have passed. So for those of you who are tracking wounds, can go ahead and tick that. And you're sitting there, Rollin's there, Snagit's there, a few others. I'll say some of the other dwarves from the Dunlands kind of come and go, as again, they've all everyone's sort of bonding here and there. There's no acrimony anywhere. No one's pointing fingers or blaming anybody. Everyone's really kind of come together, although they have suffered. Everyone that you see as tired or is wounded. I suspect it was you that set the beacons on it.
Yes, I suppose it was.
Good. Successful then, it was.
We haven't spoken much lately, have we?
Well, we've been busy.
Brother, do you remember after our father's accident, you taught me how to swing a mattock, how to work.
Aye, I did.
I've been working so hard, and yet it doesn't seem to matter.
What do you mean? It doesn't seem to matter.
I pull Blockfong out and I just set it on my lap, and I'm just staring at it.
His eyes kind of go wide. The fire-haired woman's weapon. A mighty one, it looks like. Slain many a foe with it, I imagine.
I trusted it. It is a fine weapon.
Aye.
And it served me well. It had served me well.
No, I don't understand. It doesn't look broke. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. As you're sitting there with it on your lap, you just kind of feel once more, as much as you hear, you just feel like something reaching out to you from it. And your hand just kind of caresses it ever so slightly, like it's like a lap dog. And you kind of shake free.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Aye. It's a bit dark for my taste, but yeah, the craftsmanship's exquisite.
I can't seem to let it go.
It's a weapon you're not supposed to. If you let it go, then you start using your fists. You all right, brother? You don't look well.
I'm not. You still carry your Matic? Keep it in good
Aye.
condition?
Oh, I do.
And he reaches over and he kind of picks it up.
There it is.
And it's this, it's like a big, like half axe, half mining pick. That he kind of picks up here. On one side, it's been sort of hammered down to almost have an axe blade. On the other side, it has more of a puncturing tool. It's been refined over the years. It's less used for labor and more for defense now.
Here she is. A beauty. Had it since I was a wee lad. Not as refined as yours, I imagine, but it certainly has struck down more than a few foes out here.
I find myself missing mine. Do you think perhaps I could use yours for a while?
You want to use mine? Not. I guess we've got some extra weapons. I can. Sure, brother. Sure.
And he kind of like hands it over to you. Confusion on his face.
I take the Matic and I'm holding Block Fong and I'm just looking at both of them intently. Just sitting in silence for a while. Even if he like clears his throat or something, I don't respond, and then I work up the willpower and I hand him Block Fong. Hold this for me.
He takes it. And you see just a little bit of a jolt as he grabs it.
This is magnificent. I can use this. You sure? No takes backs.
It will serve you well against orcs and any creature of the flesh, but I warn you, if there's anything unnatural, it'll be the death of you and anyone with you.
Whatever you say, brother.
And he's like kind of drifting a little bit as he says it, kind of playing around within the air.
Mighty, fine weapon of the balance. Whoever crafted this thing is master. They don't make these like they used to.
It's the weapon of a leader, of a captain. I know you deserve to be the leader of our people again. It was always you.
He kind of looks over at Rollo.
No, I had my time.
And he reconsiders it for a second. And he sets it down.
No, I don't think so.
And he reaches down over, like you can see there's a pile of weapons, and he kind of pulls out.
No, I think
He's got the most mundane looking pick, axe, something similar to his own Matic.
No. I think this is more my style.
And he says that, but you can see one of his hands is still kind of resting up against the dark shaft of Block Fong.
Well then, it seems that you've learned a hard lesson much easier than I did. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.
Fade out of that. Yeah. Okay. Gilly or Airy, do you check in with anyone?
Ari was going to go over to Lady Aerosol, so we could leave that for last because that's also where Tara was going.
Okay. Gilly, what would you have done? Who would you have checked in with or anything like that?
She would have made her rounds, but probably would have first gone to like the Forlond elves to check in with them.
Okay. All right. So you head over. You can see Amdrim is there. Balavan is there. Still has this kind of 1,000-yard stare to him, but he's got these little cuts and nicks and stuff. His hand is being wrapped up. He doesn't even acknowledge you. He's just sort of kind of there as whatever he is. He's just taking up space. But Amdrim will come over, and he looks, despite some injuries, some nicks and cuts and such, he seems more present than you remember him. He seems, his mind seems less clouded. He's like, Miss Katagoras, I am pleased to see that you are alive. And I have heard that you were successful in your task. You set the tower ablaze, I heard.
Yeah, we almost weren't.
Almost means nothing. As long as you were successful, you were successful.
Yes.
Well done.
We discovered... And she goes on to describe what we uncovered there, like the mirror, the dwarf that we saw, and she even quietly admits her fear when it was managing to manipulate Black Fong, even though Daggett was trying to control it. But it was dealt with, but I believe that may be who we need to truly deal with next. He's, if my notes are correct, he's a descendant of Gulfang. Perhaps.
You see his face kind of like, his eyebrow raises as the way an elves might, curiosity, but nothing more than that.
But I just wanted to check in with you all, because when Gilly was in Forlon, she was helping the healer deal with people who were suffering from the effects. And she turns...
Amdrim will probably... I mean, you met Amdrim when you ventured to Forlond with the express intent of removing whatever curse had befallen Floyd's armor.
Yeah.
So Amdrim would know if you broached that, he probably would at least hazard that theory that whatever similarities, like there's clear similarities between the two, and it could have been much worse had you not come to them with Floyd. Who knows what could have happened?
And there is nothing near here where we could purify this artifact? Sorry, I disappeared.
Yeah, no, you did. I'm like, oh my gosh, she used her Bree Hobbit thing.
Yeah.
You put on the Ring of Power.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God.
Oh no. Quick, get her. And he kind of shakes his head. I'm sorry, Miss Kettlegrass. No, this place is a cruel and terrible wasteland. It is a tomb. The water there can be drank, but I would not expect it to be cleansed. Likely will make us all sick if we are forced to drink it for too long. There is no place here quite so pure as the Gulf of Linden.
And she nods to that. And then she sadly looks to Balavan.
And he's just kind of staring down. He's got wounds here and there. Again, someone's just wrapping his bandage.
Yeah. What can we do?
Nothing. For Balavan.
Are you sure?
It's hard to explain.
His spirit has been broken. He will go where we point. He will assist us. But should he survive this, there is no place for him here on this earth. Travel westward. His body, what you see before him, is nearly a hollow shell.
And Gilly grows pretty quiet and somber with that, and she'll go and she'll sit with him for a little bit.
Sure.
And while everyone else is doing their things, Gilly is basically recounting all of her adventures with Sorendir to Balavan,
Nice.
as even though he's not there.
I like it. Go ahead and let's say roll. Give me a roll. Give me an enhearten roll.
In heart, I haven't done one of
I think
those
that
in
makes-
a minute.
I know, right? Let's just make sure we get all the skills rolled before we end the
Let's
campaign.
touch them all.
I had barely asked you guys to do riddle, but riddle is going to be the key to winning the final battle. And no one put skill points in it, and you guys are so screwed.
We're so
I just kept distracting you over
I've
here
got
with
2
all the
pips in it.
fighting.
I got 2 pips.
2 pips. Get out of here. Get out of here.
okay. That
I'm sure they'll
is
both be
just-
6s, and the D12 will be a Gandy, so yeah, no problem. Oh, look at that, 24. Oh, hey, it's Gandy. Ah.
I've been
just a
rolling really
regular
well.
success.
Today, you've been crushing. I'm sorry, Ashley. Would you roll?
Just a regular success.
Okay, I'll say it's very subtle, but you do notice that his sort of far off stares breaks from time to time as you explain as you tell stories here and there,
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
this and that, and every now and then he'll very faintly kind of turn in your direction, and a very sad and very simple and subtle smile will briefly show on the side of his mouth before kind of falling backwards to that stare, and then he'll just turn forward again.
Yeah.
There's something, maybe he's not as empty as Andrim says, but he is certainly not well.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone kind of touched. So Ireniel, you said you wanted to talk to Lady Erisol.
Yes, I did.
When you approach, she has a grim look, but especially if Tara comes over shortly thereafter as well.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
will. I am pleased to see both of you. She's got like some dried blood on her face here and there. And I've heard you set the tower ablaze. I wish that we were as successful as you. We were not able to get close enough before those beasts caught us, and so many beasts. Bear cubs, warg cubs. And then you see, like, she kind of, and worse, they have drake whelps. 2 young ones, very small. For drake, that is. Until we've come here, I'd never seen one, just stories. Wasn't even sure if they existed south of the Forward Wraith. They were fiercer than any warg, fiercer than any of those cubs. There was an orc, one that seemed to revel in the breaking of these creatures. I watched as one of those whelps was thrown into a pit with 3 of those ursine cubs, and it looked for a moment that it was badly and cruelly outmatched. And then with an arcing of its neck, it unleashed a foul and poisonous breath. And we watched in horror as those cubs were just... And you can see she kind of just shakes her head, their fur, their skin, eaten away
The howls we could hear from... Well, we would have been able to hear them from miles, I would imagine. Terrible creatures.
And it seems that not all of your number have returned.
No. No, that is true. There was a contingent. They have been training what the elves call urukai to ride these massive bears. They've ran us down. And she starts listing names of the few that were taken or killed. The rest of us were able to escape with the information.
Venutor's name among them?
I'm sorry, say the name again.
Was Venutor's name among the ones she listed?
She did not, but when you mention his name, her face just kind of... She's keeping a serene and powerful kind of leader face, like she's trying to show strength, but with the three of you, in this close conversation, and obviously if any of the rest of you want to be in this, you're more than welcome to. Her face kind of falters for a moment and then solidifies. He held a line to ensure the rest of us could venture up a path in the mountains to the north. I assume he is no more.
Tara's face falls and it's clear she's trying to stay upright and not fall to her knees.
Ari will kind of put a hand out on Tara's shoulder. We did not come here naive to the danger, but we have found the depth and breadth of everything here to be beyond what we could have prepared for.
The good news is, while they have a fierce number and cruel creatures at their disposal, they are anything but unified. Even at the ruins of Dolgo 8th, we saw the factions working. Those beasts were fighting against one another, arguing over who was going to get what resource. We even saw a few of the orcs slain by the Urukai, merely for questioning them. So, what they have in brute force and ferocity, well, we must counter with unity and strategy. There's that we have, at the very least. And as has always been the way, so it shall continue to be.
We were quite concerned. I feared we were not going to return from this task.
Yes. I was trying not to be rude, but the two of you looked terrible.
I indeed did not even remain conscious for most of what occurred. I do believe, as with anything we've done, we have accomplished a small task, taken out one piece of the puzzle. But the worst is yet ahead.
The Sons of Elrond had a disturbing tale. The forge fires of Kondum are lit. The ruins of the fortress are being rebuilt. Not yet have they grown to such places where they might sustain themselves, but there is someone there, building the place. That is alarming.
Our companions saw that as well. from our vantage point in the tower that is now ablaze. Seems
must
perhaps we must assess the information we've gathered, but perhaps we do not spread ourselves so thin moving forward.
There are far fewer of us to spread.
I am glad to see you. We will, as yet, have time to consider those that will not journey with us further.
Oh, they will journey with us. In spirit and in our hearts, if not at our sides. At that point, we'll say a little bit of time passes. Everyone's kind of reuniting, taking stock of things. You did lose some. I will be transparent. I burned some stuff in order to make that happen, to whittle your forces a bit. So it wasn't so much horrible rolls, but you did task a few of them with very difficult tasks. So the sabotage of Dolgoath, the discord at Moramin Terras, both of those were very difficult. There were no outright fails. However, there were some Eyes of Sauron rolled. And that is why we are dealing with some loss. Okay. So we look around, we see a company filled with people still. Strong warriors, some wounded, some not. Some lost, some still here. You are still of, I would say, 75% the strength that you were when you first arrived. Something in that neighborhood, if not a little bit higher. You have, at this point, kind of discovered all of the special little hidden locations. As I think I brought us back to the Eriador map, as the mines were the last of those. You also could have done more with Mount Grom. You could have even gone as far eastward as Gundabad. That is more than a week away. So I would say at this point, all of you having checked in, maybe got some rest, maybe got some food, some refreshment. You could even take an extra day, whatever it might be. I would ask you all, what do you do next? You are the de facto leaders of this company. You are not the only, of course. Each faction itself has its own leadership, but they look to you as the glue that has brought you brought everyone together. So what's next?
March on Karn Doom, right?
Yeah, we have a descendant of Gulfang who needs to be assassinated.
Seeing that more than half the fellowship is one endurance for a while. Sounds like a good idea, actually.
God.
Yep.
That gets pretty healthy. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, he was fine.
One short rest and I'm maxed out.
How's your injury, Turneth? Or your wound? How many days is it?
I'm down to 7 days. 6 if we have
Oof.
taken the one extra day.
So
Did you take into account
Yeah,
we've
you were
already
10,
dropped 3 days?
3,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
You should be,
With that, I
you should be at
started at 10.
6.
I'm
you
Say-
started
I
at
think you're
10.
at 6. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What about you,
I
Floyd?
was
How are
at
you?
7 till
at
Jeff
2
said
right
we
now.
took an extra day, and now I'm at 6.
Okay.
I was at 13, so then that means I'm at 9.
Okay. Sometime, we'll say a day passes. You can take an extra day in the morning as everyone's kind of recuperating and sort of people. There are sentries. You're putting sentries out like that. We don't have to belittle. We don't have to kind of get into that too much. As obvious, the sons of Elrond, Elrohir, and Eladin will be more than happy to task with that. Corridor, one of the other Rivendell elves and some of the others will kind of rotate out, and a few of the rangers who are in better health, allowing those with injury to rest. At a certain point, however, I'm going to say that Amdarim may actually no, not Amdarim. No, Amdarim's fine. Amdarim and Rollin will kind of seek out Floy and Daggett, and specifically, but the rest of you are welcome to be part of this this conversation as well. But they're interested in speaking with the dwarves, and I don't know what state Daggett is still in, but Rollin will come over to you, and he will kind of fetch you Floy and probably some of the other dwarves. And so it's a decent group. And he says, "Well, my friends, I've been speaking with Mr. Amdrim here." And he kind of looks up, and Edrim kind of like nods down about what they discovered in the mountains in the north, the mines. They said there is a dwarven mine, not a human mine, a dwarf mine. And I remember, I'm not sure how much the rest of you know your history, but now that I think of it, there is something that is curious about this. And I'm going to let Floy and Daggett, and only Floy and Daggett, roll this. A lore test. I'll say -1, but not ill-favored. Because there's...
I had 1 pip,
Okay.
so I rolled a 5.
All right.
I also had
Daggett.
1. But... I'll spend 1 hope, why not?
Spend 1 hope to inspire yourself and get
Yeah.
a D6. Yeah, go for it. Or not
Nice.
necessarily inspire yourself, but yeah. Well, what are all your distinctive features? Would any of them apply?
Proud and worry. Maybe proud of my kin.
Sure, I'll take it. Sure. So you're inspired. Take the 2d6s then. Yeah.
All right. If I roll a 5 on this d6, I will pass.
Okay.
It's a 5. Great success.
It was meant to be. So he starts talking, and he says, "I never quite had this schooling that the halls of Gladrock and others had. Education, intellect, law, books. They did not always make it down to those of us who worked the hardest. No offense, Master Floy. But I do recall reading stories. And I thought they were stories and not necessarily history of a city, a dwarf city, an age ago, perhaps, built into the mines, or built into the mountains to the north, some to the Iron Mountains, others, well, perhaps they were wrong. They know it was near the cold, near the forward way. And remember the city now. It was called Zarekdum. Do you recall it?" And he kind of looks around to see if, like, or am I just an old man chasing ghost stories? And Floy, something does actually catch. Floy, do you remember the name of your lore master? Your lore master friend?
Jetty.
Jetty, exactly. That's exactly his name.
Nice.
Now, I would imagine Floy was not the greatest of students. That's my guess, considering he has 1 pip in lore or whatever it is. I would guess Floy was not the greatest of students. He was way more, I want the treasure rather than the lore, right? But there is a story you do recall of a group of dwarves who kind of broke off on their own. The origins of which are murky. They're not Blue Mountain dwarves. You know that for a fact. But you do remember there was like a group of dwarves that sort of fractured off. There were theories perhaps that they were ancestors of betrayers, petty dwarves from ages ago. Like, it's ancient history, but you remember that they never quite fit within the more civilized clans of the dwarves themselves.
And there was a city once that was referred to as Zerektum, and it was kind of, they wanted by themselves. They wanted to be left alone, and this long predates this history. And this is probably a conversation. Maybe it's like coming out as like Rollins saying one thing, you're saying another, Rollins saying another, and then you kind of bouncing off one another. You're correcting you, he's correcting you, but it predates Angmar. Like it predates the war with Angmar. It predates the kingdom like of Angmar. It might even predate Arnor itself. Like this is like there are many who wonder, when was Karn Doom built? Who built Karn Doom? Like no one really knows. And there are structures that you've seen here now that like the architecture is not unfamiliar to you. You've seen equipment with insignia, with maker's marks of craftsmen that go back ages. Now, obviously, it's not the same, but you can tell when like somebody who has learned a specific school of craft takes that craft and uses it in their own way, embellishes it on in this way. And all this conversation just kind of comes together. He starts describing this and describing that. Like, Ron kind of comes to this idea that he thinks that maybe the elves have stumbled across this place. Maybe, just maybe, this is like this old fabled dwarf city of a clan of dwarves that long fractured and long separated themselves from the dwarves that we know, those from Erebor, those from the Blue Mountains, etc.
It's a wild thought, but I think we're onto something.
It makes me feel a bit uneasy and a little sad to know that our people could be so swayed by such evil. I know. And he kind of looks over the elf. I know we have a reputation, some of us more than others, for having a bit of an eye for treasure. But wanting treasure, wanting wealth, wanting this is not evil in and of itself. But it bothers me, and I hope it bothers you, my friends, to know that our kind can turn. I hope it was not out of... I hope it was not voluntary, at least. And that they turned to this sort of darkness, not of their own accord, but because they were perhaps forced to. Either way.
These are the dwarves is old. We should make a better example of ourselves.
I agree. And he kind of like nods. And remember, Rollin comes from very, very like poor stock. Like Floy, we've established, like you come from very high end stock. And so there is a significant like socio-economic distance between the two of you, hence the Oathbreaker dwarves themselves, that faction of this blue collar, tired of not being given the same share that others have. But even that are like kind of nods in approval. I agree with you, Master Floy. I agree. And so a little more of that conversation happens. Various stories here and there. Now, the elves did mention that when they were there, they made it to the mines themselves. They managed to get inside. They managed to look around a bit. They didn't see dwarves. Like, they saw trolls. They saw orcs. You know, they didn't see dwarves. It's not like the city was inhabited by this large contingent of dwarves, but did have the look, they said, of a city built by the eye of a dwarf and the craft of a dwarf. And there has always been uncertainty. And you get this from Lady Erisil with the Rangers. You get this from the Rivendell elves. You get this from the Forlon elves. You get this from everybody. There has always been uncertainty. Just when Karn Doom was actually built is unknown. When Angmar came to power, the Third Age. But there's rumors about this sort of exiled, self-exiled former clan that go back much further than that.
So anyhow,
And
I'll
we're
turn
all
it back
together
to you.
here for this.
We can be.
Discussion?
We can be. Absolutely. Yeah. All of these discussions, you're more than welcome to opt in or opt out.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we've sort of shared with the broader group about, because we did see it was a dwarven figure that we
did.
saw.
Short, stocky, wide. You know, it has the look of a Floyd, the look of a Daggett. You know, it's unmistakable.
Yeah. So Auriniel will describe that to everyone, that, you know, kind of our experience as we were in the tower and what was seen.
Yeah, and Gilly will go expand upon that about the maker's marks of the weapons and stuff that we've encountered that the orcs and everyone have been brandishing, also being of dwarven make. And because Gilly's never actually asked like the dwarves about Golfong. So she'll broach that to see what they know of him.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that name has been brought up before with Rollin. Rollin rolled really poorly, sorry. Yeah, I don't think the name would have recognition for him. Because I rolled a 10, so it was pretty poor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then if he doesn't, she just will expand about how his family was wiped out by the revenge of dragons because of the things that he had done to the by taking the scales and teeth and bone of youngling dragons. And
then with that, I mean, if Lady Aerosol is there, like, well, Drake's, you know, that's not Lady Aerosol. Whew, wow, she sounds pretty rough in the morning.
Yeah.
Been smoking for a while now.
It's been a rough few.
Really tough
Very
complaint.
dry in Angmar. Have you noticed that?
She says, well, she'll speak up. Drakes are not dragons, but they are very near to them. They are smaller, but they are fierce. They have not the, as far as we can have documented, they don't have the ability to fly, but apparently they do have a familiar breath weapon. So, it appears whatever curiosity seems to have been affixed across the generations. For they are in pens. 2 whelps it is. And if there are whelps, I suppose that means then there are larger versions.
we have seen one.
She kind of nods her head. Let us hope it stays clear from whatever we do next. The little ones were able to dispatch quite easily with some of those ursine beasts. I shudder to think what one of the adults could do to a man, or a dwarf, or an elf. And then she looks down at you, Gilly, or a hobbit.
And Gilly, because there was that one, the first time we came to Angmar, and Gilly was really close to it.
Yeah.
Witnessing
Splatter
it.
of like war
Yeah, she
blood
got
on you or something.
splattered
Yeah.
with, and you guys will kind of watch as Gilly kind of gets a faraway look in her eyes, and she's like, I have an idea. And she just kind of goes quiet, but then she shakes herself out of it and mumbles, I've very closely seen it feast upon creatures.
It is a beast. They do eat.
Yes, but it was much larger than I, so I can only imagine. And
She's-
Gilly,
doesn't
What is
understand
your
what you're
idea?
saying. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
just
No,
kind of
it's
waiting
just-
for you to finish.
It's mostly just fear. The gilly's just imagining it eating her, basically, and she's just remembering.
Think we've rested enough. There's plenty of us that can still fight. We should all travel as one.
Yes.
Lady
Whether
Ursula
that
looks
be
at you
towards-
and she says, "To where?"
I think the only place we haven't been, Karn.
There's like an exchange of looks. Everyone kind of looks back over the cave of injured people. If this is your wish, Master Dwarf, we will follow you.
I also
So sorry. Just mechanically, but each night is a prolonged rest. Yes.
Yeah. So each night here, you guys are in relative safety. So this is as safe as probably going to get in Angmar. So we can call this safety.
Okay.
And then you tick every day. You're ticking your wound as well.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Melissa.
I also agree. Despite our losses, I do consider us lucky to have been able to gather as much information in all of the different places here that we have since our arrival. It is heartening to hear that their forces are not as organized as ours. I wonder if there's anything further that we could do with this to perhaps slow some of them down. Though I also wonder if that would be a waste of our time, and going straight toward Karndum might be the wiser choice.
I think we've learned at Mount Graham that dealing a devastating blow to whoever is leading these forces is truly where we can deal the most damage, because they're already disorganized. So if we are able to pit them further against themselves, have them vie again for power, that would buy us more time.
So then going straight toward Karndum and trying to take out whatever is there would also serve the purpose then, you say, Gilly?
I should
So
hope.
confusion?
I think stealth would be greatly needed. We don't know. We need to gather information. We don't know our way around Karndun.
None of us have been there. We do not know anything beyond the general direction.
We know the mines are connected, right? Isn't that what the elf said? Or they're like bringing
The
materials
trolls,
from the mine?
the trolls were dragging the because they were like deconstructing like the stone columns and stuff like that. Like they were fine stone, and they were hauling it out of the mines up like a path from where that ruins of Zerakdum are up to Karn. So they weren't necessarily crossing the tundra, but they were instead following like the ridges. So you basically have two paths towards Karndum if you're, and you can take, if that's if your goal is to go after that, which makes sense. Obviously, that's where we've been pointing the whole time. You have the tundra north of Kellic Dor to cross the flat terrain, a couple miles of tundra, or you could kind of go to the mines and try to find whatever kind of mountain path, that extra ridge that the trolls were hauling the stone across. So those are kind of the two routes that you're aware of.
I would buy towards the troll path then.
Yeah, the tundra is just definitely announcing that we're coming.
So
And Iridial would sort of be just sort of getting the agreement of everyone that does it seem that we have spent enough time gathering information and it's now the time for action before our numbers are thinned too much further.
If we wait, we risk not having the strength to take Carndun. We're here to strike at the forces of Angmar that have been gathering. Carndun is the spine of this monstrosity, and we must break it.
Well said, Daggett. I'll let everyone have their choice. You can come with us, or you can start headed back.
Rollin laughs at that. I don't think so, Master Dwarf. We've come this far. And you can see like Thorvim and Thebe, like she even speaks up. We've come this far. We're coming with you. She doesn't talk much.
No, she doesn't.
it's not an easy voice for you to do. No, I mean, you will get Ascension. Like everyone, all of the captains. You can see Titus is the kind of there, like nervously, like he's not supposed to be here. But then as everyone's kind of going around, you can see Thorvim and Thebe. You can see Eladin, Elrohir. You can see Amdarim, Lady Erisel, Udil. All of them saying yes, affirmative. You get the Titus, and he's like nervous, sweating a bit. He's not used to this kind of situation, this public speaking. And he looks like a little flustered. And then we hear a voice, and we hear behind, coming up, Tharbald is with you. As we see Thar now limping to join the circle. And that is where we'll end for this session.
Wait. Do the hair thing.
He's got a bandage. He can't do it.
The band
But
just
the
blow
part
in the air.
that's the part that's not held back is flowing.
Tharbald is with you.
Always a wind machine in front of him.
As is exactly. Yeah, he has like a private fan. Just holds it.
One
Can't ever
second,
look him in the eyes because it's always
Not
in the
quite
way.
photogenic
Yeah.
enough yet. Oh,
And then
fantastic.
Tara's like not looking, and he's like, "Hold on, let me do that again." Tara, darling.
Would you second take? One more take. My voice wasn't low enough.
Was the lighting okay?
Tharbald is with you. Tharbald is with you.
What's that? All
Oh my
right.
gosh, we all made it back.
Holy crap.
Oh, look
I
at
would
this.
never let you guys die.
I've
Yes,
almost
you
Whatever,
would.
tried.
You would
Daggett.
kill us.
I feel like it was out of your hands.
That fight would have been just so much easier if you just drop that freaking weapon so much sooner.
I
it
would
was
have if I
both
didn't
out
take
of
that battle
your
map.
hands and completely in your hands at the same time.
It wasn't that hard to fight. Like that creature was not. I had like an extra little.
I was
roleplay
shocked
too.
at how easy it was to kill the creature. It was
wasn't
hard
that
because of
It
hard.
the
was so
It was
much
more tricky, yeah.
It was Daggett that made it
Yeah.
so much harder. And I
Well, 'cause
love
it's
it.
hitting
I love
in.
it so much. Like, just to be
Yeah.
clear, like it was
Yeah.
so great.
I mean, at that point too, I was like, I'm burning some complications because this is. I want this to hurt. But like, yeah. But like, I was like, yeah, this isn't that. Like, you faced much harder creatures than this. Much harder creatures. So.
but not
I think
it was
red creature
scary.
plus a Daggett. Like
Exactly.
that's the thing.
I mean, he is the second strongest dwarf that you guys have.
Yes.
Just imagine
That
if
was rolling
Floyd
well,
turned.
too.
First strongest because he took Floy out like
That's true.
immediately.
That's not hard. I do it.
I think Irenial's the only one I didn't hit.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
Dude, you would
Yeah.
have killed me one hit, like immediately knocked me out if I didn't take knockback. Or no, actually, I would have had it was 21 and I had 22 endurance. I would have
Oh,
had one
goodness.
endurance off the bat.
Good
So funny.
gosh. Gilly
What a
was so
great
mad.
session.
at Daggett.
Honestly, you guys, that RP was just like
Ugh.
so good.
Gilly
Yeah.
was clutch though, because if Daggett was the only one standing at the end,
Gilly's always
like
clutch.
he could not have healed any of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Dagger
is
would
true.
just yell at you to get better.
I definitely was
What's
thinking about that.
wrong
I'm
with
like,
you?
Had Gilly gone down, I think the Rangers though both have healing, because I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
Tara
it's like a
does.
standard.
Yeah.
It's a standard thing. I think Ari does too.
Yeah.
I think you guys
Yeah.
are okay.
I've got 3 fips in healing.
I'm sure
I
you
just
guys would
need
have bought
to
like
bend up.
1,000, dice or whatever from whatever. That kind of thing.
We're it's coming.
Ashaw
down
said
to the
active healing. I just
wire.
Such a trick. Such a trick thing. It's totally gonna heal you. You're gonna feel so much better after this.
In
all right.
hell.
I'm just
Yeah, I know.
gonna cut off the infected part. It's fine.
Keep talking. I don't have a raid set up because none of our normal raid people are actually playing right
Oh,
now. So
okay,
I'm
okay.
looking for somebody.
As I
Oh.
sat here with not having having had my second wound, I was definitely annoyed with myself for not having just taken Daggett's arm off.
Oh,
Block
that would have
fine
been
in
amazing.
hand.
I know. I
Instead
didn't
of-
want to metagame,
Instead of
but I was like,
smashing at the
"This
mirror
arm."
again. Like that was not-
Seriously, if Jeff hadn't made that comment about how like you're actually mind control, the axe just like does shit. And I was like, "Okay, well, in that case, maybe I won't use my first action to disarm him. And that was a really bad choice.
All you had to do was just let go of the damn thing. Like,
Okay. So
Oh, yeah.
the first attack was at the mirror. The second attack was at the wraith. So it could have been a different result.
it's true. It's true.
That's true.
Well,
Could-
once
could
it was
have.
triggered. Yeah. So
Oh, actually, I,
But-
wanted to ask something in the mirror that I totally forgot. Once everything was over, did it like turn into a mirror? Did it just turn into like this blackness that didn't reflect anything?
well, yeah, it eventually kind of stopped being illuminated, and like you no longer saw the throne room. It was just sort of like a generic,
Just a
like,
regular
reflective,
mirror in a
iced over
dark room.
mirror. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Trying to look for, I don't know, games that we normally play or something like that.
It's a broken mirror now because I'm sure the floor underneath it burned up pretty good.
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
all of that
All right.
stone and everything in there.
So, okay, I think I got someone I can do. All right, so let's do some close and
Okay.
plugs, and then we can get on out of here. Next stream is Monday, where we're going to be starting up Monster of the Week. We've done our session 0. We put together our hunting crew, a family that splatters together. A family that splatters together matters together. I don't know, family splatters.
How you
so-
were a teacher, Jeff. I feel like you could do better.
I am a professor. Thank you.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting.
to teach. Come on. Actually, my favorite word in the English language. And then Tuesday, Stephen, what do we got going on?
We're playing Marvel Multiverse. We already had our first session, so go watch it on YouTube to catch up. And we are moving into our custom characters. We'll be introducing our custom X-Men, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Can't wait to show everybody what Melissa and I made.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really
Yeah.
Yeah,
exciting.
I can't wait
Yep.
to see it.
Yep. After we make it.
I have the idea.
Concepts. Yeah.
You're farther ahead than I am.
Next Thursday, we're back to Werewolf as we've been doing Werewolf the Apocalypse, the new 5th edition version, or the W5, however we're supposed to call it. So the new version of Werewolf the Apocalypse. It's a lot of fun. First 2 episodes, so our session 0 and our first actual proper session are up on YouTube if you want to check them out and catch up. But we're doing that every Thursday. Next Friday, we've got another finale. Actually, so we have the finale of Conan. If you want to come check that out. And then, honestly, next Saturday, there is a decent chance it could be the finale as we are marching on Karn Doom, and who knows what's going to happen when we do that. It could end next time. We might need another session. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely, it's much more possible, I would say, next time than it was this time. So we're doing a little bit longer because we have some schedule stuff that we want to make sure we finish and do it proper before having to have some break time. Other than that, if you haven't followed the channel, please do. Very much appreciate that. We're getting very close to 1,000, and I know that again, I said it before. That's my self-worth. That's how I measure it right there. And right now, I am worth 997, And it would be nice if I could say I'm worth 1,000 because right now I'm not. And it's pretty sad. Also, go check out the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging. We've got lots of other games up there. We've been starting a bunch of new games as well. So follow us, subscribe, etc. And thank you for everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who have been watching this and sticking with us since the very beginning of One Ring. We are so very close to the end, and we really do appreciate all of you who have been watching and hanging out with us, whether you're in stream or whether you're doing so in VOD and dropping comments from time to time on our YouTube videos. So that is it. We're going to raid AP Gaming Real because they're doing like King Arthur Pendragon, and I've always been kind of interested in that, and I know that Steven's also a King Arthur fan, so we're doing that. I don't know. Follow the raid. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.